We'll come do it tomorrow. People are going to be mad at me for that. I don't care. We don't do budgets at 4 o'clock in the morning when we control the document, so we have to be fair about that. I don't expect it to be a long debate.
Check 1, 2.
But
What's going on, bro?
What's up? We got a 440.
We do?
Yeah, with the pets, vets for pets, pets for vets.
Who's our guest?
Kelly something.
A shooting in town over the weekend
let
that
me
left a
go
17-year-old
look it
dead. Investigators say around 5 Sunday morning, 4 individuals left the AAA diner on Main Street without paying their bill. An arriving officer noticed the group got into an Uber and left the scene. The vehicle was stopped a short time later at Main and Orchard Streets. Police say the teen ran from the stop with officers in pursuit.
By the way, did you get my text
It
message
was after they lost sight of the teen that they heard a
Text message.
about the
wound
between
to the
rounds?
leg.
Like, I can
Later
do
died
that
in
for
an area
you.
hospital.
So you get in trouble?
Yeah, you can't. You don't have access.
Been reported
Oh,
stolen
okay.
out
Okay.
of South Windsor.
You have to. There's a program. You have to.
Enter everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
To Maryland's assault weapons ban.
I did see that. I just didn't respond.
Turned down a case against a Maryland law that was passed after the Sandy Hook Elementary School mass shooting in 2012. The decision comes 3 years after the High Court handed down a landmark ruling that expanded Second Amendment rights. Gun advocates and attorneys for Maryland disagree over whether the AR-15 and similar weapons are protected by it. Several states have similar measures, and congressional Democrats have also supported the ban on so-called assault weapons. Stacey Lynn, CBS News for WTIC News Talk 1080.
Smoke from wildfires in Canada continues to impact parts of the U.S. All of Minnesota under an air quality alert through this evening, which is when the heaviest of the haze could set in.
You feel like something is in your throat. It's a little, how'd you say, like you're ready to hackle something out.
Gary Rother there says he really noticed the air when he was mowing his lawn over the weekend. WTIC News Time is 3:04 from the WTIC 24-hour traffic network. Looks like the earlier crashes that we had in Hartford have been cleared. We're left with some late-running road work in New Britain on 84 eastbound between exits 36 and 40. It's about 5 miles of roving until about 3:45. Delays East Hartford, 84. Westbound side between exits 56 and 46. Also with volume delays in Windsor, 91 southbound congestion reported between exits 35A and 32 into the city. No real problems to report along the shoreline. Looks like our busiest traffic along the 95 corridor begins down in Norwalk. Actually, Stamford, exit 8 and carries you through Norwalk right up into exit 17. Here's Bob Cox with the WTIC Weather Center forecast.
During the afternoon, it's a mix of sun and clouds. We'll have temperatures into the low 70s in the Hartford area, some 60s in the higher elevations. A light west wind, 10 miles an hour or less. Mainly clear tonight. Lows average 45 to 50. Looks mostly sunny and warm Tuesday.
Good afternoon,
with a high
Eric.
around 80 or so. Mostly clear Tuesday night. Lows will be in the mid to upper 50s. And sunshine Wednesday and very warm. That sun may be filtered a little bit by some wildfire smoke in the air, but temperatures get well into the 80s Wednesday. It's a little more humid, too. Dew points rising above 60. Partly sunny with increasing clouds Thursday. Very warm and fairly humid. The chance for shower or thunderstorm Thursday afternoon or evening. Highs 85 to 90. And partly to mostly cloudy Friday with a shower or two around highs in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Bob Cox in the WTIC Weather Center.
70 the temperature right now in Hartford, Wall Street. The Dow is down 11 points, making a bit of a comeback. It was down by as many as 200 earlier in the session. NASDAQ's up 124. S&P is up 20 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. It's 3:06. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Business owners everywhere are raving about ZipRecruiter's new feature, Zip Intro, which does the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates to meet with you as soon as the next day. So we decided to call up some of these employers and hear their stories. Today, we're on the phone with Pilates studio owner Crystal M. Harris. Crystal, how has Zip Intro helped you hire?
Well, I was opening a Pilates studio in McDonough, Georgia, and I needed to staff up quickly. Zip Intro did the work for me. It helped me find enthusiastic candidates who matched my qualifications perfectly.
That's great.
Yeah, I had my Zip Intro session on Tuesday, did all the interviews by Thursday, sent out the offers on Friday, and they started on Monday. Because Zip Intro did most of the work, I saved so much time.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, you can try Zip Intro for free right now at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
Life insurance. Why are you putting
Oh, a minute.
afford it? Too
Yes,
much
sir.
hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Yeah!
Hey, yo! Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the Radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio.
Reese on the Radio. Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the Radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I was supposed to begin with a audio monologue, but I totally forgot to do it because I got to admit, whatever folks are doing on airlines, stop it. Just stop it. Because now I have the sniffles and I got a little rawness in the throat and I am upset, but nonetheless, I am here. It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC. I was fine all day sitting in the D.C. area. There was like tornado warnings. There was this, there was that, all this other stuff. The graduation was the graduation. We'll talk about that at some time. It was absolutely... I'm so glad I don't have to go to these anymore. I'm so glad. That's all I'm going to say. But I got to see some good friends, a lot of people who I call my family. I know you hear in the echo. I know it's there. It happens now and again. It'll clear up in a minute. But we got plenty of news and plenty of views to talk to. Did you miss me? I missed you Friday. Boy, did I miss you. I missed you all weekend. And to only go away and to find out that, Colorado, that cesspool, would have a terrorist attack, that people have the audacity to make arguments about. Is it a terrorist attack? Does it constitute as a terrorist attack? I don't know. Don't you need guns and bombs to be a terrorist attack? This was a terrorist attack. And those of you who are trying to make a big argument out of it, okay, remember what you're trying to cover for. And those of you who are trying to understand why they're saying it, just say this to yourself. They don't want it to be a terrorist attack because it hurts them. They want to be able to hate Jews, but they just want to call it violence. Everywhere there's violence, but if it's a terrorist attack, too close to home. That's the motivation, so that you understand it. But I'll talk about that later. We've got plenty of stuff to get into today. I noticed something on X. I noticed something on Connecticut Twitter that's going on. And I have to say, good friend of mine is leading the charge. I call him a friend. But he's not the only one talking about it. A lot of you are on X talking about it. And I read it so much that I kept saying to myself, I have an opinion about this that I know is going to ruffle some feathers with the people I'm talking about. But I'm not doing it just to get them to draw their ire. That's not the reason why. I legitimately have a question about Republicans bashing Republicans in Connecticut. I do. I have a problem with it. And many people will argue, well, Reese, you don't know, and these people, and they do this, and fair enough. You are 100% right, but I'm still going to ask my question. And I want to hear from you early and often today about this until we have a guest who's coming in at about 4:45, and that's Kelly Malls she's the VP of Administration for Canines for Connecticut Vets. But I really do want to hear from you about this if you're a conservative. So my opening monologue has a question. Do Connecticut Republicans know how to be Republican anymore? Now, if I were to listen to the people that I read on X in Connecticut, the answer sounds like no. I want to tell you a little backstory about this and why I almost missed sight of it. I almost lost sight of it because I didn't want to make it about me. I didn't want to make it about my experience. I wanted to understand Connecticut and what was going on. But as it turns out, sometimes history is your guide. I believe all the time. Jokingly, when I'm either in Texas, Connecticut, anywhere I go, as a black man, people will ask me, how did you become a Republican? You're from New York. New York is notoriously liberal. How are you a Republican? You don't sound like anybody I've ever met from New York. And I say all the time, there are no New York Republicans. And people will say, yes, they are. Yes, there are. I know I've seen them. Giuliani was a Republican. Wasn't Bloomberg a Republican? Elise Stefanik is a Republican. Sure, they are. The problem is, not all the time. You see, I'm a real Republican. Now, that isn't to throw shade towards New York Republicans. Many of them think to themselves, well, I'm pretty conservative, I'm fiscally conservative, I'm socially liberal, but I consider myself a Republican. Of course, they all do. But if I were to hold them to my litmus test, they'd all fail. As they do in Connecticut. All of them fail. But I don't want to just put it on the critics. I want to put it on the Republicans they're criticizing. Again, do Connecticut Republicans know how to be Republican anymore? And I think not. I think they're scared to death. I think that they are in this tunnel that is dominated by liberal, if not progressive, and adoring Democrat media who see Republicans as adversarial, as is a group of people to defeat. And sometimes, as we used to say in the hood, you have to get in where you fit in. So some people have to moderate or not try to come off as aggressive. Or, in many cases, don't want to be labeled as extreme. So they water down who they are. They try to legislate on a very Republican sort of platform, but in a lot of ways, they don't like to shuffle the deck chairs in any way, which has made a lot of people in Connecticut angry because the people who live in Connecticut who are conservative, are Republican, maybe even libertarian, Those people stand firm on who they are. But politicians waffle. And we are at a time where people, I should say, hate politicians waffling, going along to get along. Those days are over. People now understand that compromise is not what people think it is. When you hear the word compromise, it's never towards conservatism. It's never towards conservative ideals. Compromise in Connecticut means Republicans water down their position to see it Democrats' way. That's always, and in fact, it's been that for a large portion of my life, especially living in New York. I played an audio piece here from Ari Horowitz talking to New Yorkers about compromise. I know you've heard it, where he goes to these New Yorkers and talks about, would you like to see more bipartisanship? Would you like to see more compromise in our politics, in the body politics? And people said yes. New Yorkers were like, yes, yes, yes. And then he brought up core issues, wedge issues in our community: climate change, abortion, taxes, health care. And every one of these Democrats immediately turned on the idea of compromise. How about climate change? Can you compromise on that? Whoa, no, not at all. But wait a minute, I thought you said you want to compromise. Well, that's not the kind of compromise I want. How about abortion? Can you compromise on abortion? Nope, I can't compromise there. How about taxes? Can you compromise it? Now gun control, another one, Eric, good point. They can't compromise. There is none. And because Republicans are the minority, what do you think they do? They waffle. But my question to that is why? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not to go along and get along. Maybe guys like Mark in West Hartford, featured on this show a lot, maybe he's right. Maybe the deal is there is a uniparty here. They're just faking the funk. They're frauds. They're not real Republicans. Now, many of them will argue with you about that, and they'll argue with Mark about that. I'm a real Republican. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He just wants us to hold the line. No, yeah, well, of course. People want you to hold the line. That's the idea. It's the job. People will continue to vote for you to hold the line, even if you fail. But they want somebody representing them. Now, I want to say this. This is important to get out. Because many Republicans will say, but Reese, we got to win. And sometimes we have to capitulate. And I have something to say about that. You're soft. I'm sorry. You're soft. See, there's one part that I want to take guys like Mark in West Hartford's case, because sometimes I feel like he's really beating up on conservatives and Republicans in the state. And that all of a sudden starts bleeding off into other Republicans, and then Republicans start bashing them as well. And then they don't support those Republicans. And what happens at the end, more and more Democrats win, and there's more and more blue in the state. Those Republicans are pushed out, never to see the light of day. That stuff happens, and Republicans don't even want to run anymore because it's like, I can't please these guys. Now, I'm telling you, being honest here, do I think that's a possibility? Of course there is. Of course there is. But on the other hand, I can appreciate Mark from West Hartford. He's not going to take any suckers. He's not going to be suckered in by people who play Republican and then act Democrat. And that's standing on your 2 feet. That is standing on what you believe in. But people on both sides, be they the politician and be they the Mark from West Hartford's, be they the the people who elect them, you get what you ask for. And you have to be willing to suffer the consequences of that criticism and of that outcome that you get from trying to hold these people accountable. Again, it could be a losing proposition. It could be a push, a push, a push. This guy, he sucks. He's no real Republican. This woman, I ain't voting for her. She should never even run. Blah, blah, blah. This one's doing cartwheels, and we've got problems all over the state. And the next thing you know, Democrats are sitting idly by. And I want you to consider this. This is not a criticism. This is something I want you to listen to. Sometimes your anger can get way ahead of you. Sometimes your disgust and your dismay can get so far ahead of you, you are assisting the other side. I'm not saying don't criticize them. I just need you to understand that that's what happens. Democrats in here, in this state, listen and watch. And they always take advantage of an opening, a weakness, an Achilles heel. They do. And when they see that that support isn't there, that emboldens them. You may be aiding and abetting the destruction of the body politic of Connecticut in doing so. Think what you're doing. Do not react out of anger. Do not react out of frustration. Think. Because the one thing I'm noticing about the Republican Party in Connecticut, they listen to certain people and they dismiss others. This guy's he just wants to yank my chain. All he wants to do is bust my hump. I'm going to listen to him. I'm going to do what we're doing, creating that divide. If people feel like that's happening, there's no support on either side. The Republican Party isn't doing what the party wants. The party doesn't care about the Republican running office or in office. And everybody's out on a limb. There's no support. And I get the reason why. I'm not dismissing it. I need you to understand that. I'm not dismissing the legitimacy of the complaint. But you've got to think about what the plan is. What is the plan? Be it for the politician or be it for those who are critics of these politicians. What is the plan? I don't care how angry you are about these people. I don't. I really don't. It's fun to watch. You guys will bash each other all day. I love a good, trash talk. But at the end of the day, what are we trying to achieve? And if we're trying to achieve anything, how are we getting there? Because beating up on each other isn't beating them. They're watching y'all beat up on each other and plotting their next big caper. Passing legislation that hurts you, hurts your bottom line, destroys your community, invades your space, takes your money. Again, I am not here to say that anybody is misguided in their point of view. But what's the plan? I never hear the plan. And if you listen to this show, every time I have one of these guys on, what do I say? We need to do this, that, and the third. And you even hear these guys when they're on here. You know what? That's a good idea. You know what? That's a good idea. Do they execute? Not always. Am I always pleased? No. But guess what? I'm never going to stop doing? Giving ideas. Somebody will figure it out. Somebody will say, you know what? We need to do that thing Reese said. You know what? We need to do that thing Mark said. We need to do that thing Rudy said. Somebody's going to figure it out. After a while, enough is enough. We have a saying in recovery. I love it. It's my favorite. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And if it's just going to be a poo-poo fest of people criticizing each other and yelling at each other with no results, no plans, no ideas, we're no better than these guys, the Democrats. And by the way, the polling data I got coming up shows you exactly, look, that's what can happen in Connecticut. It's almost inverse. What's happening to the general Democrat Party in the country, that's happening to the Republican Party in Connecticut. And I'll explain that to you. I'll explain exactly what's happening, but I need you again. I hate that term. I'm not going to say it. I just want you to think, not keep an open mind. Think, be critical, instead of criticizing. It's a good start. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Your phone calls, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. When we return, it's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
There's a lot happening in Washington and in your local neighborhood. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app to keep up with the latest.
At Ayala Home Services, we handle hundreds of well water problems a year. We believe hearing your options to get water flowing in your house shouldn't cost a thing. That's why we offer free estimates for wells with no water. Plus, get your water back as soon as the same day. Contact the trusted well professionals at Ayala Home Services when you call, click, or text today and say hello, ALO, call for details. Licensed for safety. P1027768, D104014665, E1185643, S3308699, HIC 628926, SM30044646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
Hi, everybody. It's Brian Green from the Commercial Break Podcast. It's likely you've heard of the show if you're directly related to me or you follow our MySpace page. But I'm not here to talk to those three listeners. I'm here to appeal to people who haven't heard the show. Along with my co-host, Kristen Joy Hoadley, we're taking a deeper look at the topics that are affecting our youth today. Like, who are the people who are dating ghosts? Where did all these pickup artists come from? And why doesn't my preacher have a nicer private jet? We understand that these are the issues you really want to get to the bottom of. The Commercial Break is now available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Ugh, I gotta get business cards printed for my entire staff, but where do I even?
That was easy.
Oh, okay, Staples. But can I have bigger stuff printed too, like huge signs and banners?
That was easy.
Nice. And what if I had to ship a package?
That was easy.
Have my passport photo taken?
That was easy.
Coffee and snacks?
That was easy.
What about the latest laptops?
That was
Earbuds
easy.
and headphones?
That was
Office
easy.
chairs?
That was easy.
I think I also need to get some Staples.
Seriously?
I had to ask.
For everything your business needs to get the job done.
Staples. That was easy.
And now, a WTIC news update.
It's 3:30. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva. WTIC in Hartford. It is now known as the People's Bank Arena. The announcement made this afternoon at a press conference in Hartford. The facility is currently in the midst of a makeover at a cost of about $145 million. A teen is dead. East Hartford police are investigating after they say the person died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Officers say they were called early Sunday to the AAA diner on Main Street after the party the teen was with failed to pay their bill. The teen fled after the vehicle he was in was stopped. Officers gave trace but lost sight of that person. That's when they heard a gunshot, found the victim with a leg wound. He died at an area hospital. The man's dead, and West Hartford police are investigating what they are calling a vehicle versus pedestrian crash. Happened at New Britain Ave and South Main Street Sunday night. 63-year-old Stephen Mendelson pronounced dead at the scene. Driver of the vehicle did stop and is cooperating, according to police. Down to the last few days of the legislative session in Hartford, House Speaker Matt Ritter says they are hoping to run the bill on a 2-year state budget this afternoon. He says if that doesn't happen, they'll run it tomorrow. Lawmakers also could take up a measure that could save electric ratepayers some money. And delegations from Russia and Ukraine met in Turkey for their second round of direct peace talks today. This just a day or so after both sides exchanged long-range fire. WTIC News Time is 3:32. Bob Cox with the WTIC Weather Center forecast.
It's going to remain dry and comfortable this afternoon with a mix of sun and clouds, highs in the low 70s, some 60s in the higher elevations, and just a light west wind at about 10 miles an hour or less most of the time. Tonight looks mostly clear, lows about 45 to 50. A nice day tomorrow, mostly sunny, the high around 80 or so. Mainly clear Tuesday night, bit of smoke in the air though, Tuesday night into Wednesday. That's from wildfires in Canada. Lows will be in the mid to upper 50s Tuesday night, and highs well into the 80s with a sunny sky Wednesday, dew points in the 60s, so to feel pretty summery Wednesday. Thursday looks partly sunny, very warm, and still humid, with the chance for a shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon or evening, highs 85 to 90. And partly to mostly cloudy Friday with the chance for a shower or two, highs in the low 80s. I'm meteorologist Bob Cox in the WTIC Weather Center.
All right, 71 right now in Hartford. Wall Street, half hour before the close. Dow's down a point. NASDAQ's up 121. S&P's up 20. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
As men get older, our bodies change. We all know that. And often we just accept the changes as the way it is. But some of those changes, such as bad sleep patterns, low sex drive, brain fog, no energy, and reduced gains in the gym, could be due to low testosterone. And that is something you can change. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health. And even if you're in your 30s, if you're experiencing some or all of the symptoms I just noted, you very well may need low testosterone treatment. With our treatment protocols, if you're like most men, you'll be amazed at the change. You'll have more energy, improve mental clarity, your sleep will be better, so will your workouts, and you'll likely find your sex drive increases too. So give us a call today and make a change for the good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. That's northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices across the Northeast to serve you. Northeast Men's Health, a Promedic restorative health practice.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Well, these polymers aren't as flexible as batch K3.
Researcher Laurie is stretched thin.
Did you get the vulcanization analytics from V66? Wait, are these rubber scores from last week?
She needs to hire new lab technicians so she can bounce back into her old self.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our matching platform lets you spend less time searching and more time connecting with candidates. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, this is Tom Shattuck, and I've been telling you about my friend Phil's weight loss with Awaken 180. Happy to report in that after 16 weeks, Phil, yes, again, lost weight last week, and he's down a total of 74 pounds. He's getting within just a few pounds of his goal. He's also down 4.2% body fat this week and down 2 full points in visceral fat. That's the dangerous stuff that surrounds your organs. When I was on Awaken 180 a couple of years ago, I lost 80 pounds. My wife Alice lost around 30 pounds. Alice has jumped back onto the maintenance program because she wants to lose a couple pounds for summer, and she's already lost about 10 pounds in 2 weeks. Awaken 180 Weight Loss is the long-term solution for weight loss because you can always use it. You'll always have the tools and knowledge to lose weight, and you'll always have a coach for life, for free. Awaken 180 has helped over 24,000 people lose weight for good. Let's make this summer the one where we all feel our best. If you're ready to kickstart your transformation, call 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at Hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular.
1 minute.
We're the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Hinton.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, folks, we're back. It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC. Plenty of news and plenty of views. Pardon me. I don't know why that happened. That was weird. Get to the phones, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Also, if you wish to opine and you can't get on the phones, go directly to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. It is your go-to place to watch the show, opine on the show in the chat room, directly there. ReeseOnTheRadio.com. That's REESE on the radio.com. By the way, you know we got some good news coming up next week, Roland. Have you heard? Have you heard about some good news coming up next week? Okay, Roland's doing something else. Anyway, there's some good news coming up next week. I can't tell you. They told me I couldn't tell you. But I'm going to tell you. But I can't tell you. I'll tell you soon. Anyway, let's get right to the phones. If you're just joining us, my conversation or my opening monologue was, do Connecticut Republicans know how to be Republicans anymore? And there's been a real divide between Republicans, writ large in Connecticut against Republican politicians. You know the names, Proto, Sampson, all of them. There's a big problem. And there's some hardliners that don't believe that Republicans in the state are real Republicans, that they're Republican lights. They're not even being nice enough to call them rhinos. They just call them the Uniparty. Do they have good reason? Probably. But my question is, what are the solutions? I get the criticism. That's all great. But I try to come up with ideas. So I'm asking you, tell me whatever you want, 860-522-WTIC. Let's start with Fred in Middletown. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm good. So yes, I would presume to pose the rhetorical question: is it time to start calling Democrats scum-sucking commie pigs?
Why,
Mark? Well, I'm thinking, see, they are, and so the opposition party. Now, the deal is, like, when push comes to shove, they're ultimately useless. They do this stuff, but at the critical moment, they're not there.
Yeah.
The way Shannon Joy describes it is, okay, the Democrats, we know they eat babies. And every now and then the villagers get together with pitchforks and torches and go up to their castle to take care of business. And the Republicans are already up there. And they're like, oh, we got this. And the people are like, you sure? And they never got it. You know, and they go home without, like, settling Democrat hash. Mark one time called the show Ben Proto was on.
Right.
And he got hung up on. He goes, Ben, I have some facts and figures and timelines. And Ben cut in and goes, he cut a look at the producer. Mark was gone. And then Ben did this thing about he was going to take him to task for not taking Lamont to task during the medical martial law.
Right.
You know, I mean, it was kind of like, if the guy's kind of a murderer, maybe you should call him that.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. This, and I get, trust me, and that's the reason why I don't want to parse any words. I didn't want to play around with the language. My sincere issue is, again, people like Mark are not wrong to call out people who are not doing their due diligence or their role as Republican leaders in the party. He's not wrong. That's something he has to do as the guy who's, Mark is out there being a Paul Revere of all of this, telling everybody what's going on and how they're getting duped. So he's got to challenge these people. But when you got guys like Ben Proto, who again doesn't even give Mark the legitimacy of answering his questions, or at least telling him, here's what I'm doing, and just having him removed does not help. It only alienates more and more people who feel like their voice isn't being heard. Because I'll be honest with you, there are more people like Mark than there are Ben Protos in this state.
Well, you mean who think like him, not
Yeah, that's what I
like
mean.
him.
That's exactly like exactly.
Real quick, just let me drop this because I talked to him by the by. For his 2 or 3 minute phone call, he put on his shoes, went out the door, went to some horrible meeting, had daggers, at him, had people in the room wish him dead. He spoke for 2 minutes, he left. It took him total 2 hours out of his evening for his 3 minute call. I mean, you really couldn't thank him enough. And then somebody like that, you don't really tell them, a little more green, a little less yellow, about another degree to the right. You got to take them as they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I guess that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Fred. I appreciate you. I got a bunch of people to get to. Let me grab them. Thank you, buddy. Let's go to Tony in Southington. How are you, Tony?
I'm doing great. How's it going, Reese?
I'm good. So what do you say about this divide between the Republican politicians and Republicans in office? I mean, Republicans writ large in the state.
I got you, man. I figured this out. The last election and the governor election, the previous one, I looked at that. I saw that we were censusly during the census, evaluation. Mm-hmm. We're about 20 to 30% short of Republican strength.
Yep.
And I think whatever Republicans are left in Hartford and the Capitol are all about the bonuses, the job security, the kickbacks, and the love that they need just to stay alive. So they tend to float and waffle, like you said.
Yeah.
In your opening monologue. And to me, that's pretty pathetic, but we're not far from a 50% shot. I'm heavy into politics. I did the math. I look at the census and I look at the voting tallies at the end of every November.
So do I.
So we fell 20 to 30%, probably 20 to 30 within that window, short of Republican power. I think they caved because they need to keep their job and their secondary job. Some people have regular jobs. They do Hartford for a secondary job.
You want to know what I found out, Tony? This is crazy.
Like I don't like it.
The November election of 2022. Do you know that almost 500,000 people didn't even show up at the poll? 500,000.
Oh yeah, you're right. I heard something about that. You're right. You're correct.
Yeah,
yes, 100%.
It was no. In fact, no. I apologize. It was more than 500,000. It was about 1 million people who didn't even show up to the gubernatorial race, and a race that was decided by 174,000 votes.
Easily. You are definitely correct. That's how short we are in general. Our number is 30% overall. If we can get 30% to kind of flip, we could change the state back to Republican and conservatism.
Yeah, but there's got to be enthusiasm. But there's got to be enthusiasm, and there isn't any. That's my whole point about this question. Thank you, Tony. Let me grab some more here. Let's go to my good friend Rudy out in Florida. What's going on, sir?
Oh, I'm cracking up. I'm gonna address this. But did you see our friend from Wallingford?
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it. We'll get into that later. Go ahead.
I don't want to throw you bananas. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know. Go ahead.
What
Inside
a piece
joke.
of garbage. So here's the deal. Connecticut. Let me ask you this: how many people call up to your show and complain about Trump?
Rare. That's rare. That's incredibly rare,
and
unless they're liberal.
They're what?
They're liberal.
They're Tims.
Right.
They're Democrats, right?
Right.
There are no true Republicans in Connecticut. They're all a bunch of frauds. And
are you talking about the elected? Are you talking about the elected leaders?
No, I'm talking about your callers and voters, like the last guy.
So you don't wait a moment. So you don't believe that? Well, first, I don't think he's a big Trump supporter.
I don't think they know what being a Republican is.
Okay.
I grew up outside of New England. I went to college. I went to boarding school there. I was stationed there. I worked there. I spent 18 years there, and they're 100% Trump supporter. Trump is a Democrat New York City politician.
100%
There's
right.
nothing Republican about him.
But he's a populist. It's fair to call him a populist, isn't it?
Right. So they don't know the brand of Republican, even though they're voting Republican.
Gotcha.
So it's an uneducated audience.
Ooh.
And I'll give you a perfect example. As much as I didn't want to do it today, I bashed Simsbury Joe.
Okay.
On Tom's show. He called up and complained about the Egyptian immigrant that fired up Colorado today.
Yeah.
But over the last year and a half, he's been saying, we need to deport criminals, the illegal criminals, the bad guys that are in this country. But if they're working and they're not doing anything wrong, we need to let them do their jobs. This guy.
No, I'm sorry. Let me stop you. And what you just said is exactly what I was talking about. Okay, and this is not even a crack on Joe on that sense, but I get what you're saying. I just want to reiterate the point that you just made. That's right into what I'm saying. Is that there is a watered down version, right?
Through an NGO with a work permit to work, but he's sitting there and waiting for his chance.
Yep.
We need to get them all out of the country. But Joe, who's I'm a conservative Republican, which he's not, said this guy, if he's working and contributing, should stay in this country. No, they're all bad actors, and you're just waiting for them. They imported criminals, and they imported people that are going to become criminals, and it's a wave after a wave. Let the first guys come in, do their damage, and then let the ones you think aren't going to do anything do what they did in Colorado. They all need to go, and that's the problem with New England Republicans.
So you're reiterating what I said in my opening monologue. That again, I asked.
I'm 100% agreement with you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I believe there's a watered down version of conservatives in the New England or even the Northeast.
Don't say conservative because there's nothing conservative.
Okay, I'm just saying. I think there's a watered down version.
Republican.
Right. Yeah.
It's a centrist Republican like McCain and Charlie Baker.
Yeah.
You look at it. I mean, look at Aaron Stewart. Yep. Everyone on this radio station, for the most part, wants Aaron Stewart to run for governor. She's the biggest liberal, big spending, garbage project candidate, and she's actually leading all the Republicans right now in fundraising. She's about to.
I know
she's going to go approach
350,000. I saw the post today. And it's true. I don't look, Rudy, let me stop because I got to take a break in a second, but I think you're 100% right. I don't believe that New England's could recognize a Republican if it was literally written on the forehead.
Your
because
whole audience is a bunch of ignorant, centrist Democrats that
I don't think
realize what conservative is. I'm going to get blown up, and no one's ever attacked me, but I can't wait to make popcorn.
Well, yeah, you're definitely going to be attacked.
And Monkey Boy in Wallingford, I hope he calls up because he's a Democrat and he's a racist, and he came out of the closet officially, and it's great. But Mark and I are the only ones that call these people out for what they are.
I know. Listen, and I know that, but remember, you have to remember. The question is, and the second part of that question is, Rudy, and I do have to take a break, but the second part of that question is that what are the ideas? But I know you guys have some. I'm not talking about you in particular. I know you have some ideas. And you are probably one of the most conservative people I know or that listen to this show. So that much I can stand by. But I got to take a break. Thanks, Rudy. I appreciate you. Let me take a break. In fact, I got Mark sitting in the queue right now waiting for him, and we'll get to him in a second. Christine is also in the crew, Christine in Middletown. We'll talk to her as well. This is, again, the point that I'm making here is that it is difficult to be a Republican in what is considered non-Republican venues. It is difficult because of the atmosphere you live in. There's a bit, I remember somebody talking about Stockholm Syndrome. Some of this stuff wanes on you. The way of life starts to wear you down. And your ideas, you start to, I hate to use the term waffle in that regard, but it starts to dilute their conservatism and their Republican values. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And that's cool. It's not a bad thing. It's just that I don't think that people know what Republicans are in Connecticut anymore. I knew this was going to be a hotbed issue. Trust me, I knew. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More phone calls when we return. It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Are you a proud Connecticut business owner? We are too. With more than 48 years of experience handling business transactions for small and mid-sized businesses. And we know that not every business relationship works out as planned. If you found yourself in a dispute, call the law firm of Brown, Payne, Darris & Scott. Our team of business lawyers have over 100 years of combined experience. At BPS Lawyers, you get more than a lawyer. You get a full-service law firm. Call us at 860-CALL-BPS or visit bpslawyers.com. Nick Payne Darris is responsible for the content of this ad.
Hey, how'd you get your water heater fixed so fast?
Aiello Home Services, same-day plumbing. I gave them a call, and they had a plumber on their way. They even sent the plumber's real-time location, so I knew when they would be here.
Did you say same day? That's crazy.
If you need same-day plumbing, call, click, or text today and say, hello, Aiello. Call for details. Licensed for safety. P10277688, D10401465, E11856443, S3308699, HIC 628926, SM3004646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
Hi, I'm Joe with SimpleSaleUSA.com, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 203-896-4000. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and more importantly, anywhere in Connecticut. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and even foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 203-896-4000. That's 203-896-4000. 203-896-4000.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
It's Reese on the Radio. Ask your doctor if common sense is right for you. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
It's a war, I tell you. It's the war of the Republicans. Here on Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Bombs are going off. Oh, let's get to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. The aforementioned Mark in West Hartford is on the line. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, can I have diarrhea of the mouth for like 30 seconds? Because I want to piggyback off of what Rudy said. If you were paying attention, he used the term calling out. And I know you used the term, and I know you're not referring to me or Rudy, trash talking. Now, the one thing...
No, when I said calling out, hold on, Mark. When I said calling out, I said calling out the politicians, like the protos, the stewards.
Yeah, I got
you. Yeah, that I meant.
Yeah, no. But there's a difference between trash talking and calling out.
Right.
And that's what I think people need to separate. So, and I just wanted to say, like, Fred from Middletown pays attention. So, like, if I call up about Themis Claridis, it's not because I want to make fun of her wrestling career or how she looks or all that. No, yeah. I like to bring the facts. She's a Trump hater. How about the fact that I was the only one to tell everybody she fundraised for one of the most woke mayors Hartford ever had.
Yeah.
Her step-son-in-law. And nobody to this day, it took me a year to get Rob Sampson to finally condemn that she fundraised for a woke liberal. It's not like she fundraised for the lesser of two evils.
Right.
And there was a Republican running against him.
Yeah.
But that's what I do. Proto, when I'm glad Fred was paying attention. Proto, before, I got hung up on, potted down, whatever you want to call it, he's going, I called him out for not doing anything during COVID. He goes, oh, all that happened after I was elected chairman. And I got all the facts. There were 22 executive orders issued by Lamont after the day he was elected as chairman of the GOP, but yet he stayed quiet. Vincent Candelora stayed quiet during COVID. You know why, Reese?
Yep.
He collected twice on two family businesses. He owns a health club, and then his family has a business. Both of those businesses collected COVID relief funds. Big money. These are big businesses. That's why he kept his mouth shut. Sampson, the whole thing, I don't talk to Shattuck anymore. He was taking my call. As soon as I held it, all I wanted to do was have a discussion and say, listen, let me get involved. I said, since you people can't do it, I'm unaffiliated. I guarantee you, give me a way to contact the RTC. It was right after the Murphy Blumenthal town meeting in West Hartford.
Yeah.
And I realized there should have been hundreds of people there. And yet there were like 40, there was like 40 of us all together. The majority of them were all MAGA out. And it doesn't have to be MAGA. I'm unaffiliated. It could have been all of us in plain clothes, just making a statement out there. And what did he label us? He mocked us. And he goes, oh, what am I going to go there, heckling? Rob Sampson is a fraud. Most of these guys, and this is people don't realize, most of these guys are attorneys. You know one thing that they don't have in their private practice? That
Just say it so I can go to a break.
Immensely?
Yeah, what is it?
They enjoy the free health benefits that these elected positions, but nobody talks about.
But I gotta go. Just gotta go. Anyway, let's get our first check on the weather and traffic with Jason Catarina and Mark Crisler was in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese. Good afternoon. This traffic report is being brought to you by Columbia Implant Center in Manchester. And if you're heading into Hartford, southbound side of 91, delays 36 down to 32 A and B. Looks real good, 91 northbound, Cromwell up into Windsor. Westbound 84 is a little tight, Bulkley Bridge up to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound is running slow, 44 Prospect Oakwood into the tunnel. 291 eastbound slowing, I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. 2 eastbound moving well, Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound slowing, Harbor Park up to the Aragoni Bridge. 9 northbound, again, a little slow, 32 up to exit 34 in New Britain. If you're heading toward Waterbury, 84 eastbound, a little tight by 18. Westbound side of 84 slowing 26 in Cheshire up to the Mixmaster in Waterbury. 84 eastbound in Newtown slowing from 10 to 11. The northbound side of the Parkway delays approaching 59 up to exit 60 in Hamden. Southbound Parkway slowing by exit 60 in Hamden. 95 south, New Haven slowing 46 to 44. And right now, if you are traveling in the southeastern part of the state, 395 southbound between exit 9 and 6, right lane shut down there because of a vehicle fire. Stuck in traffic again, don't waste another minute. Columbia Implant Center in Manchester gets you in and out fast, often in just one day, open 7 days a week. Get your smile back now, Columbia Implant Center, ColumbiaImplantCenter.com. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Pleasant and warmer for the rest of our Monday afternoon with sunshine and some clouds, but a big warm up on the way later in the week. The high up to 70 today. Mainly clear, cool tonight, the low down to 47. We'll have hazy sunshine Tuesday. It'll be warmer, and that smoke from the distant wildfires will enhance the sunset for us. The high of 81 on Tuesday. Wednesday, hazy sun again, but very warm. The high jumping up to 89 midweek. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
4 o'clock, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Hartford's iconic downtown arena has a new name. Officials have announced an agreement with People's Bank to put its name on the facade. People's Bank is not affiliated with People's United, based in Bridgeport and now known as M&T Bank. At a news conference this afternoon, Capital Region Development Authority Executive Director Mike Freemuth said a renovation of the facility is ongoing.
Over the last 5 years, we've put in our process of putting in $145 million. Now, a modern, brand new building costs north of $1 billion, so 145 seems modest. But 145 is a major investment in what is a 50-year-old shell.
The former Hartford Civic Center was home to the NHL's Whalers, also hosted numerous concerts and other events over the past half century. Officials have been able to go forward with the renovation they say should be complete by year's end. Investigation continues into an incident that happened in East Hartford early Sunday morning. Police say a group at the AAA diner on Main Street failed to pay its bill. The party then took an Uber, leaving the restaurant. One of those inside that vehicle, a 17-year-old, bolted when it was later stopped by police. Police officers gave chase. They lost sight of the teen, heard a gunshot, and when they came upon the scene, they found the victim with a gunshot wound to the leg, who later died at an area hospital. That investigation is ongoing. West Hartford police say a man struck and killed by a vehicle Sunday night in town. Just before 10 p.m., officers, along with fire and EMS, were called to New Britain Ave and South Main Street. Pedestrian identified as 63-year-old Stephen Mendelson of New Britain, pronounced dead at the scene. The driver of the vehicle is cooperating with police. That investigation is continuing. We're learning more about the suspect in an attack in Boulder, Colorado, that left 8 injured, some critically.
The suspect was identified as Mohammed Sabri Solimov, according to an FBI special agent. He's facing multiple felony charges at the local level, and on Monday, federal hate crime charges were added onto his legal problems.
That's CBS's Jake Rosen. The group that was targeted had gathered in a popular pedestrian park in Boulder to draw attention to the Israeli hostages who remain in Gaza. Officials from Ukraine and Russia set to meet for negotiations. They met for about an hour today, didn't get very far. A senior U.S. defense official said it was so advanced they're unsure how Kyiv pulled it off, talking about that those drone attacks on Russian airfields that occurred over the weekend. CBS News national security contributor Sam Vinograd with reaction to the situation.
I would expect Ukraine to continue to use non-traditional methods like drones to try to accomplish its military objectives and to really show Russia and the rest of the world that they aren't backing down.
Just back from Ukraine, Senator Richard Blumenthal says peace is nowhere in sight. He says rather than honestly pursuing a ceasefire, the Russian president is planning a major summer offensive. He also says Russia's not winning, as Putin claims, and calls Sunday's wide-ranging Ukrainian drone attacks on Russian air bases bold and effective.
The bombers that Ukraine destroyed on those 5 Russian bases, thousands of miles from Ukraine, are used to attack innocent civilians in Ukraine. Its attack on these bases was extremely important for the air defense of Ukrainian people.
We're expecting a debate in the state Senate on legislation that addresses Connecticut's high electricity rates. Lawmakers have been cooking up numerous ways, that is, to cut down on bills in the short and long term. Republicans have long been unhappy that PURA, the regulatory body that oversees utilities, has been operating with only 3 regulators instead of the full 5. House Republican leader Vincent Candelora is also following word of a handshake deal the governor will make the 2 appointments in February of next year.
He hasn't made them in 4 years and hasn't given a reason why, other than saying, I like 3. Laws matter. You have to follow the law. I don't care what you like. It's what you must do.
The governor has argued that it won't make an immediate difference, while Republicans say it's the law and will help keep PURA's decisions fair. Lawmakers also hoping to run the state budget bill later on today. The House Speaker says if that doesn't happen today, they will get to it tomorrow. On Wall Street, markets up. The Dow ahead 35 points. NASDAQ's up 128. S&P up 24. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text. Text PACK to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful Fed incinerator ever, to help you get back into It's absolutely free. Text PEC to 321-321. That's PACK to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Oh, baby, we are back. Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. We'll take some more phone calls because I know this is a hotbed issue. I knew it was. I'm sorry, and I got to be honest. It's just who I am. This was low-hanging fruit. Okay, I know it was, but it was just everywhere. And I know people are thinking, we're not even in the season where elections are going to be happening, but this is something I know people are upset about. I just know they are. And it's time to hash it out. I just don't think that there are any ideas. Mark pointing out that, there's a whole bunch of people who are fleecing or lining their own pockets. That's got to be answered to. It just is. And if there aren't any solutions, there's just going to be more and more pain. And if they're working against the people to take care of themselves, Connecticut, forget about it, is lost. Just is. Just is. Anyway, we'll get into more of that when we return. We'll take more of your phone calls. Now let's get into some more weather and traffic. Jason Caterina has traffic. Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Are you familiar with this guy, John Brenkus, from Sports Science?
No.
Okay, I know Roland might be. I want to talk about him a little bit as well. He was battling depression. He sold Sports Science to ESPN. He passed away at a very young age, I think, this weekend. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you're familiar with him.
Yeah, I'm not really. No, I'm not. But I did hear the story that he did pass.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out. It was like he lost his battle with depression. Did he commit suicide?
That's sort of, that's sort of where everybody was thinking.
Okay,
because
they were seemed very ambiguous, if not vague, about how he passed away. I was just wondering if you may have heard that.
I don't know exactly what happened, but sad. Very
like sad.
You said, very young. Yeah, very young. Hey, Reese, thank you very much. If you're heading into Hartford right now, southbound 91, you've got delays approaching 35 down to 32 IMB. Northbound 91 is moving well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 is tied up approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 45 Flatbush Avenue. 84 eastbound slowing about a half mile before 46 Sisson Avenue to the Bulkley. 291, 384 OK, 2 eastbound moving well, Glastonbury to Marlboro. Both sides of 9 heavy approaching the Aragoni Bridge. 9 northbound, some slow traffic, 32 in Berlin up to exit 34 in New Britain. If you're heading toward Waterbury, 84 eastbound a little slow by exit 18. Westbound 84 tied up 26 in Cheshire up to the Mixmaster. Northbound on the Parkway, you've got delays well before 59 up to the west, up to exit 60. Southbound Parkway slowing 61 to 60. 95 South New Haven tight 46 to 44. And we're dealing with the remains of an accident in Montville this afternoon. It is 395 southbound between exit 9 and 6. And it looks like right now the right lane is out there, so stay to the left. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
It's going to be mainly clear. Quite cool tonight. The low down to 45. Hazy sun. A warmer day for us Tuesday. Smoke from the distant wildfires will enhance the sunset tomorrow. The high of 81. Wednesday, hazy sun. Very warm. The high 89. Humid on Thursday with clouds and sun. A heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon could produce localized damaging wind gusts. The high back to 89. Then Friday, overcast. A thunderstorm in the afternoon. The high on Friday of 83 for us. Right now, it is 72 in Meriden, 66 in Waterbury, and 72 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Some plumbers spend their ad money on internet searches. At Joe the Plumber, we like radio. So while we may not pop up first on your web search, come see why we're the first choice for so many residential and commercial plumbing jobs. Visit us at calljoetheplumber.com.
ProHealth Physicians has proudly been keeping Connecticut healthy for nearly 25 years. ProHealth accepts Husky Medicaid, Medicare, TRICARE, and most major insurances. For trusted local care for your whole family, call 1-855-CT-MD-411 or visit ProHealthMD.com.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about your thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
For year-round home comfort and energy savings, you need the best HVAC system and service. That's why you need to go with Petro. Right now, Petro has an offer for a new energy-efficient central AC system from America's most trusted brand, Train, with $0 down and low monthly payments. For expert AC tune-ups and 24/7 emergency repairs, go with your local HVAC pros. Go with Petro. Go to petro.com, call 844-HVAC-4YOU or 844-482-2496 today.
Here's a few questions for you from psychics. Do your workdays seem to go on forever? Is your career progression as fast as downtown traffic? Or does your boss still not know your name?
Hey, you, Tina, Lisa, Sheila, whatever. Get that report to me by lunch, okay? It's Carrie, ma'am. Just get it done, Terry.
It's time to read the career warning signs and talk to California psychics. We're always on hand to give you the career guidance you need. You see, we only connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. So you could soon be telling your boss where to stick that report.
Where? Terry. Terry!
Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics. Call 1-800-PREDICT today and get 20 minutes for just $20.
President of the Chris Murphy Fan Club, Reese on the Radio, on News Talk 1080, WTIC.
Oh, and I've got Chris Murphy stuff for you, too. They have this thing that's online based upon Saved by the Bell, and it's called Zach Morris's Trash. It's one of my favorite little bits they used to do. And I think I'm just going to start calling it Chris Murphy is a worm. He is, and a bigot, and a racist to boot, and I have evidence of it right here in my hands. We'll get into that in a minute, but I want to get to these phone calls because two of these individuals, one have called in, and one I'd like to give him an opportunity to defend himself. Well, first, let's go to Christine in Middletown. How are you, Christine?
Hi, Reese. Good afternoon. Well, it was another day at the in the House chambers this time.
Okay.
Before I had to leave for work. I witnessed a lot of it at the Capitol and the LOB this session. Spend more time there than my job, it seems. So.
Yeah, indeed.
You know, the problem I have, well look at this Connecticut GOP headquarters in Middletown. There's really no parking. There's only an 8.5 by 11 sign on the door. If you're driving, you don't know what's there, and it's not really a welcoming. That's a handicap. You know, how about people that want to do better go out and run? If you want to run next year, do it now, so you have this summer to plan for it.
And I think that there are a lot of people that can rally. Look, I think there are a lot of disenfranchised and forgotten about Republicans in the state of Connecticut who just don't want to take a part in this, who may be just as angry as Mark and even Rudy for that matter, that you can appeal to. But you've really got to put in the effort. I'm not saying that these guys are wrong to complain, but it's not enough to just do that. You know, what you're trying to say.
To your point, Reese, you made in your monologue, the Democrats, or I should say the communists in charge, they rarely fight publicly. They keep it in the locker room, and they come out with a united front.
Exactly.
And the Republicans don't do that. How about a united message? This is risky, but it has to be done. The two reasons why we're overtaxed, 50,000 state employees, and the demands of the public sector unions. And how about this net zero, all wind and solar energy policies, and that 2050 net zero crap? How about those two united messages? So I don't think too many people want it, as Mark said, they like their health care. How about 1 6-year term? But you've got to take on the public sector unions. That's killing us. I don't know if too many Republicans are willing to do that in their campaign.
Exactly right. And again, listen, I'll tell you this. One of the loudest voices, against or pushing against the Republican Party is a guy who considers himself unaffiliated. But his criticism is for both parties, but primarily focusing on, I call it the misdeeds, the dirty deeds, or even the mishandling of certain items or line items by Republicans. But truth be told, I don't think that a winning message is just criticism. There's got to be talk about what the message is or what they're fighting for or what they're fighting against. I don't see that. I hear a lot of other things that aren't happening. But, Christine, you make a good point. It's like, look, if you're dissatisfied with the leaders who are in the party, challenge them. You got to go after them. There are more of you who are disenfranchised, if not in disbelief of these people, than you know. But you've got to do the work. It's easy to complain. It's low-hanging fruit.
And I also given them a chance to solve some social issues.
That's right.
And I had only Tom O'Day has taken me up on a meeting. They could talk about it for press clippings, which our state-run media won't platform them. How about we take action? I put the ball in the tee so they can try to walk the driver 300 yards down the middle, and they take out a 5-iron to lay up, and they put it in the rough.
Yep.
In the golf terminology.
It happens. Well, those are actually good terminologies. Thank you, Christine. Let's go. Let me go to Simsbury Joe so he can defend himself here. How are we doing, sir? So Rudy believes that your stance on illegals, saying, in essence, I guess what he's saying, that your stance on illegals who are doing the right thing, those individuals should be allowed to stay. And for him, that's a bridge too far because anyone who came into the country illegally should go. You care to defend yourself on that front?
I would absolutely like to defend myself.
Sure.
So to my friend Rudy is an example of a conservative.
Okay.
I'm an example of a common sense conservative.
Okay.
And the difference is that we can't even get 10,000 nasty, dirty, filthy criminals out of this country without left-wing judges blocking it. So any effort that is spent trying to get 20 million other people out who's broken the law, obviously, it's not going to happen. I have a neighbor who has her mother here. She's from an Eastern European country. She watches their 4 young children every day. She's here illegally. She overstayed her visitor's visa.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to kick her out? Well, kick her out. Sure, that's illegal, blah, blah, blah. You're not kicking out a 65, 70-year-old woman who's watching small children who's doing nothing wrong.
Let me
That's
say,
the common sense view.
What's the saying, Joe? I always forget it, but White Mike brings it up all the time. What is it, the thing about sacrificing the good for the perfect? I don't know how that term goes, but it's something along those lines. Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah, but I can't recall.
I can't remember calling it either, but that's primarily what it is. And what you're saying, I think what Rudy is saying here is that, look, they all go, but you're saying that there are human interest stories that will completely muck up all of it. Because think about it this way, and to use the example that you used about the elderly woman taking care of small children, they tried to do that with Abrego Garcia. The reason why we all know that man's name was because the left was trying to use Abrego Garcia. They wanted to disregard his MS-13 ties, his human trafficking ties, his domestic violence ties, because they wanted him to be a Maryland dad. And if, you can dispel that this guy was a Maryland dad with all of the things I just mentioned. But a 67-year-old undocumented or illegal grandmother taking care of small children as a nanny or a live-in au pair, that's a hard sell.
Well, I'm using that as an example of what I think is common sense. I don't want to be falling into the category of being, mamby-pamby liberal. I'm looking at it from the standpoint much more of we can't get Venezuelan gang members out.
Right.
Why do we think, maybe someone can call and explain this, because I don't know the answer to it. What is it going to take with the number of ICE agents that we have, with the way the judges are blocking things, to remove all these other people, regardless of their age, regardless of what country. I don't see how it can happen. And all this talk nothing against Rudy in saying this, I just don't think he's thinking until he can come up with a way that we're going to get all these people to walk out of this country. They aren't walking out of this country.
Yeah.
So every time you open your mouth and you say, get them all out, they're all illegal, but none of them belong here. Other people are looking at it going, well, how are you getting them out? If you can't get them out, let's start thinking about who we're going to keep and why we're going to keep them, because we know we can't get them out.
And Joe,
that's what really gets me.
Joe, and you listen, that's kind of the crux of what I said in the opening monologue is criticism aside, and I get the criticism. Solutions matter. Like, those are the things, like, you know, everyone's going to get their back up when they're being criticized and yell at each other and say, you need to do this. But there needs to be an idea. And I'm not hearing enough ideas. I'm hearing this person's not Republican, that person's taking money over here. But I'm like, look, we need to save the union. Where's that conversation? And that's I'm not seeing on either side, be it the politicians or Republicans or conservative voters. I don't hear that.
I've always said, and this kind of fits into what Mark was saying and what you're talking about now, is that as long as we are following the process that has been set forth by the people who determine that process for the protection of what they want, we are never going to win. We might win an election here or there like Trump won. We are never truly going to win because we're playing on their battlefield with rules that they have thought about long before we ever thought about them.
That's right.
As to how they're going to protect themselves.
And don't forget, we're also exposing our weakness through the bickering, which they're clearly going to take advantage of, and they need every bit of it. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you, man, as always. And thank you for calling in to defend yourself. I wanted to give you an opportunity, so I appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
You got it. Now, listen to me real quick. Chris Murphy, worm. Absolute worm, I tell you. A woman during his walk across Connecticut was asking him about immigration and asked him about his own words, about him caring about his most important constituency, illegals. Now, I understand the woman, she seems elderly from her voice, was probably not prepared to get a moment with Chris Murphy. So Chris Murphy, knowing that, completely changed the subject. If you don't hear her, what she's asking is why do you care more about illegals than you do about the citizens of Connecticut? And Chris Murphy went out and called her a racist for her asking the important question. Listen yourself.
Which question?
I asked why you care more about illegal immigrants than you care about illegal citizens of the state.
Well, I care.
Fighting to bring back illegal criminals. Why do you do that?
I mean, what did I say to you? I think I probably said
didn't
to
say
you.
anything. You just turned around and walked away.
I think people who are here without documentation deserve to be treated with justice, and that means giving them a chance to apply for citizenship and stay in the country. So,
but what about the criminals? I mean, I see there are literally teachers with Indivisible out protesting in New Haven right now to bring back all criminal illegal.
Now, again, all she's talking about are the illegals who are committing crimes. That's what she's talking about. What about those people? Will you at least concede that those people need to leave? So instead of addressing that, he goes in his usual direction, and he calls her a racist.
Do you think that migrants to this country commit crimes at a higher rate than natural-born citizens?
I don't think that's the
Do you
issue.
think that migrants do you think that they are a bigger security threat?
I think when they come here legally, they are.
But you create this impression that we have something very unique to fear from migrants, when in fact, first-generation people in this country commit crimes at a rate lower than people who are born here, because they're just here to seek a better life. And so you're feeding this really dangerous racist mythology
So like
that you have something, we have something that we have something to fear from people who speak a different language or are of a different ethnicity. So it's rooted in a really dark place. Yes. And we should stand up for people's safety all over the country and not.
Now, I can't listen to this bozo anymore, but he's a worm. And he's a big fat worm. Chris Murphy is talking about American citizens who allegedly commit more crimes than than immigrants who come into the country. First generation immigrants are coming to the country. Well, Chris Murphy's right. He is right. And he says it's racist to condemn illegals who come into the country because natural-born citizens commit crimes far more than they do. And I looked it up, ladies and gentlemen. He's right. Based on available data from the Connecticut Uniform Crime Reporting and related sources, arrest rates in Connecticut show disparities across racial groups. In the 1990s and early 2000s, black individuals accounted for higher percentages of arrests relative to their population share. Specifically, blacks made up about 9% of Connecticut's population, but a significantly higher proportion of the arrests for various crimes. For example, in 2000 to 2004, black arrest rates for murder were 10 to 15 times higher than that for whites, 5 to 6 times higher for sexual assault, 8 to 9 times higher for robbery, 4 to 5 times higher for aggravated assault, 2 to 3 times higher for burglary. Whites, who comprised roughly 88% of the population, including white Hispanics in 1997, accounted for a lower percentage of arrests relative to their population share. So if Chris Murphy's telling the truth, you should be happy to have immigrants, illegal immigrants, in your town. You should be fearful of what statistics say, his words, not mine, that say you should be afraid of the blacks who live here. Remember what he said. Statistics show they commit less crimes than natural-born citizens. What he's not telling you, he's talking about Negroes. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic. Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Well, if you're traveling into Hartford right now, southbound 91 delays 35 down to 32 A and B. Northbound 91 moving while Cromwell up into Windsor. If you're traveling 291 eastbound, a little slow on the Bissell Bridge. Traveling westbound 84, you're tied up East Hartford, approaching the Bulkley Bridge to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound, you've got delays about a mile before 46th Avenue into the tunnel. 2 westbound slowing, 1D up to the 84 west merge. Both sides of 9 heavy approaching the Aragoni Bridge in Middletown. 9 northbound delays, 32 in Berlin up to 34 in New Britain. Westbound side of 84 slowing, 26 in Cheshire up to the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound Waterbury slowing by 18. Heading into New Haven, look out for a crash southbound on the Parkway between 61 and 60. So some slow traffic there. Northbound Parkway slowing, approaching 59. South 95 New Haven tight 46 down to 43. In West Haven, traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Pleasant and warmer for the rest of our Monday afternoon with sunshine and some clouds, but a big warm up on the way later in the week. The high up to 70 today. Mainly clear, cool tonight, the low down to 47. We'll have hazy sunshine Tuesday. It'll be warmer, and that smoke from the distant wildfires will enhance the sunset for us. The high of 81 on Tuesday. Wednesday, hazy sun again, but very warm. The high jumping up to 89 midweek. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Keep WTIC News Talk 1080 with you all summer long for the information you need. Weather forecasts from Bob Cox help you plan your summertime activities. Taking a trip? Mark Christopher's traffic reports will get you there without the hassle. Plus, up-to-the-minute news reports twice an hour. No matter where you go, listen on the Odyssey app and stay informed with what's going on back in CT. Because when you're on vacation, we're not. WTIC News Talk 1080.
And now, a WTIC news update.
It's 4:30, Hartford temperature 70 degrees, partly sunny skies. I'm John Silva. WTIC 1080 News. Well, it's a race against the clock for state lawmakers and trying to pass as much legislation as they can before Wednesday's adjournment. Still to be decided, a new 2-year state budget and a bill to rein in electric rates. Former XL Center in downtown Hartford has a new name. Officials today announced the venue will now be known as People's Bank Arena. The facility is currently in the midst of a multi-million-dollar makeover. FBI says the man charged in the attack in Boulder, Colorado that left 8 people injured told police he planned it for a year and specifically targeted what he described as the Zionist group. FBI affidavit says the suspect confessed to the attack after being taken into custody on Sunday. That group was targeted, had gathered in a popular pedestrian park in Boulder to draw attention to the Israeli hostages being held in Gaza. Man dead after he was struck by a vehicle Sunday in West Hartford. Officials say Stephen Mendelson was found in the intersection of New Britain Ave and South Main Street. Driver of the vehicle did stay on scene. In East Hartford, the investigation's continuing into a shooting that left a teenager dead. They say they got the call Sunday morning to a diner in town. A group the teenager was part of left without paying. The vehicle was subsequently stopped. The teen fled the scene. Officers gave chase, lost him, and then heard a gunshot coming from where the teen was ultimately found with a leg wound, later died in surgery at the hospital. State's mosquito management monitoring programs underway. Those with the Connecticut Agricultural Experiment Station say from now through October, they'll be tracking mosquito activity and diseases they may carry. On Wall Street, the Dow rebounded to finish up 35 points today. The Nasdaq gained 128 and the S&P was up 24 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, where our erectile dysfunction treatments are shown to be effective in well over 90% of cases. Here is one of our patients, Bill, sharing his experience on our ED treatments.
My name's Bill, and I'm a patient at Northeast Men's Health. I suffered with ED for a couple of years, and I wasn't satisfied with my intimate life with my wife. If you have a problem, find a solution. If you have ED, seek out Northeast Men's Health. Go there. You've got nothing to lose. I am having good sex, but it's not just about the sex. Colors are brighter. My mood was brighter. I had more passion for everything in my life, not just sex, everything. I'm going to Northeast Men's Health. Go there, give it a try, meet the people there. They'll take care of you.
Thanks, Bill. It's true. If you're like most men, we'll help you get your sex life back. For just $99, you'll get a medical consult, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call today, 800-930-5956, or go to northeastmenshealth.com. That's northeastmenshealth.com.
Career changers, including active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
Than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
Stupidest thing I read today. Remember last week before we left, we had 2 Secret Service agents getting to a street brawl outside of Barack Obama's Washington, D.C. home. Oh, yes. 2 female Secret Service agents. One of them was angry. She said, I'm going to whoop this girl's ass. So it turns out that her relief showed up a couple of minutes late, but she showed up with a Ford Explorer instead of showing up with a car that she did want to leave with, because apparently you bring in the car that the person's supposed to leave with. So she showed up with a Ford Explorer, but the one that she wanted to leave in was a Dodge Durango. Something as simple as that set these 2 women off, or at least one of these women off, that they start fisticuffing out in the middle of the street at 2:30 in the morning. What's this? What car is this? You gonna come in there with a Ford Explorer? You know how ghetto that looks? I'm gonna whip your head. It couldn't get dumber. Secret Service, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, just come on. Let's applaud DEI. Come on. Come on. Let's just applaud it. Let me tell you something. There's a thing out there that I just learned about. If you were probably here when I learned about it. Called this online. It's called black fatigue. If you're online, just look it up. You can do it quietly in your home. But they have all these videos out about black fatigue. And it's just videos of people doing some of the most unsavory things and ticking off everyone around them. Just absolutely reprehensible, irresponsible things. And how people in the African-American community are sick of it. It's just like, I'm sick of being represented like this. And they're calling it black fatigue. And the only thing I have to say about it is, folks, do you remember how angry they got when I started Negro Nonsense right here on Reese On The Radio? Do you remember how upset they were? I've been doing Negro Nonsense since 2012, and I always get raked over the coals. And here we are in 2025. Now it's called black fatigue, and everybody's talking about it. Oh, look who's ahead of the curve. That's right. Of course it's me. It always ends up being back at Reese On The Radio. I know. But don't worry, we're back. Reese On The Radio is back. And Thursday, we'll get right back to it. Let me just play it for you because I have to.
Negro Nonsense. Negro Nonsense. Negro Nonsense.
There are people who say they can't listen to Viva Las Vegas anymore. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon. This traffic report being brought to you by Amplify Connecticut. And if you're heading into downtown Hartford right now, eastbound side of 84, you've got delays about a half mile before 46th Avenue into the tunnel. Westbound 84 slowing, approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 45 Flatbush. Southbound 91 delays, 33 down to 32 A and B. Northbound 91 easy ride Cromwell up into Windsor. 291 384 okay. 2 eastbound moving well Glastonbury into East Hartford. Both sides of 9 heavy approaching the Aragoni Bridge in Middletown. 9 northbound slowing 32 in Berlin up to 34 in New Britain. 84 eastbound slowing by 18 in Waterbury. Westbound 84 some tight traffic from 26 in Cheshire up to 25 in Waterbury. Again, some slow traffic, 22 up to the Mixmaster on the westbound side of 84. 84 eastbound Danbury slowing 3 to 5. 84 eastbound again slowing by exit 9 in Newtown, and again 10 to 11 in Newtown. If you're southbound on the Parkway, look out for an accident down by exit 60 in Hamden. Delays back to 62. Behind that, northbound Parkway, some slow traffic, 60 to 61. I'm sure rubbernecking at that southbound crash. South 95 New Haven tied up 46 down to 43 in West Haven. Strength isn't just about what you carry, but it's what you can let go of.
No.
June is Men's Mental Health Month, and Amplify CT reminds you that help is here. Visit amplifyct.org for resources and support. You matter. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Mainly clear tonight. The low dropping down to 45. Then hazy sunshine. A warmer day for us as we make our way into Tuesday. Smoke from the distant Canadian wildfires will enhance the sunset with a high of 81. Wednesday, hazy, very warm. The high up to 89. Thursday, very warm, humid. A heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon could produce localized damaging wind gusts. The high 89 again. Overcast, a thunderstorm in the afternoon Friday with the high of 83. Currently 73 in Meriden, 66 in Waterbury, 70 Bristol, and 72 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
They say diamonds are forever, but forever's a long time, especially when you're waiting for a plumber. So join Joe the Plumber's Diamond Club. Diamond Club members get front-of-the-line service, plus discounts and reduced fees. Join the Diamond Club today at calljoetheplumber.com.
Concerned about your gums? Columbia Dental's expert periodontists specialize in treating all gum conditions, helping you achieve a healthy, confident smile. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit columbiadental.com.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about your thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
Join music director Carolyn Kwan and the Hartford Symphony Orchestra for a spectacular finale to our 2024-2025 season with Rachmaninoff and Rhapsody in Blue, June 6th through the 8th at the Bushnell. Clayton Stevenson returns to perform Gershwin's timeless Rhapsody in Blue. It's the perfect way to celebrate Clayton's residency with a Hartford Symphony. Another highlight is John Adams' Dr. Atomic Symphony, inspired by the story of J. Robert Oppenheimer. Tickets as low as $10 for students. Call 860-987-5900 or visit hartfordsymphony.org.
Not available in all states. Rates vary. Building a financial safety net for your family can be tough, but with term life insurance through Ethos, you can have peace of mind. Pay the mortgage and other bills if something happens to you. With coverage in as little as 10 minutes, all online, Ethos finds your best rate across their multiple trusted carriers. Some policies as low as $1 a day billed monthly. And even in uncertain times, your term life insurance rates and payout don't change. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
The self-proclaimed love child of Rush Limbaugh.
Running a strange program, y'all.
Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
We're back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. As I promised, we have a guest today. But before we do that, let me just let you know, once again, WTIC News Talk 1080 has teamed up with Forever in My Heart Foundation to provide a Connecticut veteran with the service dog. It's WTIC's Canine for Connecticut Vets. It's a new name with the same mission, and we need your help. Our goal is to provide a Connecticut veteran named Paul with a service animal. His name is Artem. And we're raising money from now until June 6th. We have to raise $25,000. That's for all the services. Get the dog trained, get the dog acclimated to Paul, that whole bit, food, the whole nine. Oh, and doctor's fees. You know, vets are expensive. Anyway, you can help us out by sending a text to Artem at 91999. That is Artem, spelled ARTEM, at 91999. Or you can go to WTIC.com/vet, and you go there for an online link to see a QR code. You can scan that to donate. So please help us get our Connecticut hero this much-needed service dog. We also want to thank Russell Speeders Car Wash for sponsoring our campaign. And I think we're still thanking Cussin Automotive as well for contributing. With that being said, a guest who's affiliated with all of this is Kelly Walls. Kelly Walls is the VP of Administration. Hi, Kelly. Thank you for joining the show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. So, Kelly, if I'm getting this right, you have a doctorate in physical therapy, and you're currently working with individuals who have neurological and physical disabilities. So I don't want to assume here, so I'm going to ask, is your role as VP of Administration, are you dealing with the veterans with things like PTSD and other neurological and physical disabilities on that end, and to acclimate them with dogs like Artem? What exactly is your role, if I got that wrong?
So very similar. So I do assist with if there's any kind of transition to somebody needing mobility assistance. I'm there as kind of like a resource with my background as a physical therapist.
Okay.
I am sometimes involved in some kind of like applications if somebody is coming in, let's say with a spinal cord injury, somebody who's paralyzed, and the applications team needs a little guidance of the type of assistance they might need from a service dog. I kind of assist and help them with that. Otherwise, as a VP of Administration, I help with all the paperwork, make sure that all the contracts are straight away, make sure that communication is set between everyone in the organization. That's kind of what I do.
So everyone that I've spoken to so far has told me that all of this work you folks are doing, this is all volunteer. Is that correct?
Yes.
Everybody's a
Yes, all
volunteer.
volunteer.
And
Yes.
what
Everyone.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, other people have full-time jobs like myself, and we kind of just do this whenever we can. We try to meet weekly, and we participate in events. But yeah, we're all volunteers.
How much time do you dedicate to this as a volunteer? Is it weekly? Is it monthly? How much do you usually try to contribute on a volunteer level to this effort? Because I know it takes, with the training and everything else that goes on, we're talking about thousands of hours that go into this.
Yes, yes. So as a typical volunteer, the minimum commitment is weekly. For somebody who is training a service dog or a foster family, which I am also involved in, it can be twice a week for training, but the expectation is that you have to be training the service dog throughout the week, at least a minimum of 15 minutes twice a day. So to train a service dog, it does take quite a lot of time.
Now, you sound like a younger person. I'm an old guy, so everybody sounds young to me. Your involvement in this, how did you get here? Were there other volunteer groups you were with? Is this your first foray into volunteer work with this particular? Is there some association in your life that brought you to Canine for Connecticut Vets, or that brought you to the Forever in My Heart Foundation?
Yes. Couple years ago, I'm Polish, and a couple years ago when the war broke out in Ukraine, there was a fundraiser in New Britain, Connecticut for supplies for Ukraine. And I went to one of those events, and I actually met the president of Forever in My Heart Foundation saying, hey, I'm going to try to rescue some dogs from Ukraine. I'm going to need somebody to foster them. Do you want to be involved? And that's kind of how it started. And then I was very hesitant at first, but I became so obsessed with it, so in love with the organization, and very passionate about the work and the mission that I just couldn't leave.
And you know what? I totally get that. And of course, when it involves pets like dogs, it's almost easy, like too easy to say yes, especially in a situation like that, because I didn't even know. I think until I spoke to Glenn was when I found out that there were dogs that were coming from, war-torn Ukraine.
Right.
And there were so many people that were like, yes, of course, bring those dogs in. And those dogs are now, of course, going to be of service with veterans. How ironic that those two would be brought together.
I know. How can you say no in a situation like that?
Now,
knowing that they're being rescued and they're going to rescue someone's life now.
Now, I didn't know that you were actually going to foster dogs. I heard a dog in the background. Now, how many dogs did you end up fostering? Was it one, or did you take a whole litter?
From the several years that I've been involved now, I think I've had about 8 or 9 foster dogs.
Wow.
And yes, you're hearing my girl in the background, my permanent dog. I am a foster sale now.
Okay. Now, how many have you taken on at once? Because to be honest with you, I had 2, and that was way too much. How many did you take on at once? Did you fill the whole house?
The most I've had at once is 2.
Okay.
And it was hectic.
Now, only reason why, we're going to get back to this, okay? But now I've got other questions, and I just have to ask you. You foster the dogs, and obviously they have to leave. The dogs, usually they get paired up with veterans and things like that. Did it break your heart to have to let those dogs go? I'm almost certain you attached to those animals.
Yeah. The longest I fostered a dog was about 7 or 8 months, and he was the hardest for me to kind of let go with. But once I knew where he was going and who he was going to be partnered with, this particular dog is now a support canine for the New Haven Police Department. And once you know the purpose of what the dog's going to do, it all makes the emotions kind of pass, because you know that dog is going to make such an impact on the life of the individual or the organization it's going to be working for.
Yeah, I had to give up my dog Rowdy once, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen him in a year and a half, and I still wonder I always think of him wondering if he still cares about me or even thinks about me.
Oh, definitely. when I saw that same service dog back at training or at public events, he knew exactly who I was. So I'm sure
Really?
yours remembers you as well.
Yeah, I
Yes.
hope so.
forget.
He was a rowdy. That's why he was called Rowdy. He was a rowdy animal. He'd probably
Rowdy.
just jump on me anyway. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing with, because what's your affiliation? Is it with the Forever in My Heart Foundation, or is it Canine for Connecticut Vets? Where are you the VP of administration, or is it with both?
No, for Forever in My Heart Foundation.
Okay. So your role there is to, and you said that you are the administration, so you're just dealing with paperwork. Are there any hands-on that you're involved with other than the fostering of dogs? Is there any other hands-on that you're dealing with as a physical therapist? Because I'm assuming you're a physical therapist. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
At this time, I'm kind of leaving that my personal career aside from what I do at the foundation.
Oh, okay.
I have given advice or guidance to people who would need my help, and I have offered my help in case they need it.
Mm-hmm.
At this time, they haven't needed my help in that capacity, but it is my profession, so I'm always open to any help that they may need with that. But at this time, we haven't used it in that way yet.
Well, I find, listen, that field of physical therapy, I always find incredibly fascinating. You know, my wife is, visited, as many families do, see physical therapists all the time. The stuff you do is made of miracles. I'll be honest with you, your understanding of the body. I'm scared to death of you. I think that you guys would actually, that's because you guys would probably touch like a pinch of nerve on my body I'd never even notice. And the next thing you know, I'll be barking like a dog myself. So you guys do incredible work. And I'm always fascinated about.
Physical torturous is how some people say.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I think what you're doing is great. I think what both organizations are doing is great. Are we doing a sort of tally of how we're doing with the $25,000 that we're getting? I haven't heard anyone talk about that. Or are we just going, where are we now? If there is something that we can report, are we only going to wait until the end?
I am not sure what the current number is.
Okay.
I think it would be best to wait till the end, and we can kind of tally up then.
Okay, no problem.
A little surprise for everyone.
Absolutely. Well, Kelly Malls, VP of Administration for the Forever in My Heart Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time. And good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
And as soon as we find this out, hopefully we'll have some of you folks back to talk about the success of the program. Has anybody talked to Paul yet? I think has Paul done an interview with anybody yet?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
He I think is supposed to be.
Yeah, okay. So someone may have, but I actually want to talk to Paul myself. And my wife is very excited to talk to him. So good luck to you. Thank you for coming on. We'll talk to you next time, okay?
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Kelly Walls, VP of Administration for the Forever in My Heart Foundation, who is helping us get a canine for Paul, the veteran. He is going to be getting Artem, who I'm very excited to. I haven't even gone online to go see what Artem looks like. They say he's a beautiful dog. I actually should go and check that out. I've got some time, and Courtney Ann, our good friend from out in Fresno, California, is in the chat room talking about this discussion about illegals. Everybody's got an opinion on this illegals thing. So I'm going to read what Courtney wrote inside the chat room on Facebook, and then I will put her on the microphone so I can yell at her about it. Here's what she wrote. Let me get to it. She says, she asked the question, what about Americans who commit horrible crimes here? Can we send them away too? And Courtney Ann is with us from Fresno, California. Hello, Courtney. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm right. Okay, so let me just answer your crazy question. What about the horrible criminals that are here? Yeah, we do have a process. It's called prison. We don't need to send those people to El Salvador. We need to send people who do not belong here to El Salvador. That's all. You want them to be treated
I'm not
the same?
So it's okay. So a couple things. One, it's funny to me that, and you didn't read this comment, so I'm going to say it.
Okay.
It's funny to me that we, the people, should have the nerve to tell any immigrant they cannot come here. Now, I'm not talking about the criminals, because guess what? There's criminals everywhere, and there are less criminals in this situation for immigrants I'm talking about
Right.
than there are like more. It's not like there's all criminals, okay? So excluding that part of it, because you can't get away from that.
Okay.
How is we are the land of the immigrants. Nobody's really from here except maybe like the Indians.
But that's
that
not
were
wait,
here.
wait,
They
wait,
can
wait. That's
say-
not a prerequisite
Yeah.
for allowing them to come into the country illegally because we're the land of immigrants. No offense, but
Well,
I come from apartments. Should I be able to take anyone that I want? I grew up in apartments. My whole life I've lived in apartments. Am I just supposed to get one now? The thing is that because we're a land of immigrants means that foreigners just get to take part of what skin I put into the game, that they should just come in and just eat. No, hell no.
What? Hold on, wait a minute. What do you, when you're saying like, what did it sound like they're coming here to work?
I don't care if they're coming.
I
don't care if they're coming here to work. I don't care about that. If they're coming here to work, see,
Okay,
let's look at both processes.
we?
I'm going to explain to you. Let me tell you the both process. Okay, both processes. Okay, America is the land of opportunity. Getting into the country should be difficult. Why? Because we have a value system here, and our safety is important. And your intent to come into our country to contribute to it, as all of us already do as citizens through our taxes and through our work, whatever the case is, we are contributing to a society. We are Americans. Other countries are far more strict than ours, far more. But if you're going to come in, there's a process that you should be able to follow as they do. But people treat America as this country where the rules that everybody else applies to as countries doesn't need to apply. Why? Because we're America. Who says we should have rules and regulations? We're America, the land of the free, the land of milk and honey. People should just be allowed to come in. Well, that should be the case for every country, but it isn't. So I always say, you first. But they won't. So let's go. Hold on, let me go one step further, and I'm going to give you an opportunity on the opposite side, I promise, because I got to take a break in a second. But the other side of this is that there are legal citizens who pay $10,000 to $25,000 to come into the country legally, and there are illegals who spend that same amount through coyotes. So it's not like they don't have the money to get here. But we'll get into that on the opposite end, so stick around. Let's get into another check of the weather and traffic with Jason Caterina in weather, and Mark Christopher's got traffic in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark. Who's not there yet? He's about to come in. He's almost there. I see him coming around the corner. He's running to the microphone.
I don't know where he's at.
He may have forgotten the time.
No, I'm here.
Ah, there he is. Hey, Mark.
I'm here. Hey, guys, thank you. Southbound 91, look for delays now from 33 down to 32 A and B. Northbound 91 moving well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 running slow, approaching the Boakty Bridge out to 45 Flatbush Avenue. 84 eastbound slowing a half mile before 46 Sisson Avenue into the tunnel. 2 westbound just a little slow as you merge to the 84 west. Both sides of 9 heavy approaching the Aragoni Bridge in Middletown. 9 northbound delays 32 up to 34 in New Britain. If you're westbound 84, you've got slow traffic from exit 22 up to the Mixmaster in Waterbury. Eastbound 84 in Danbury slowing 3 out to exit 5. Again, some slow traffic 8 in Danbury out to 11 in Newtown. Southbound Parkway, look out for an accident prior to exit 60 in Hamden. Delays back to 63. Behind that, northbound Parkway slowing between 60 and 61, rubbernecking at the crash. 95 South New Haven slows 46 down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Pleasant and warmer for the rest of our Monday afternoon with sunshine and some clouds, but a big warm up on the way later in the week. The high up to 70 today. Mainly clear, cool tonight, the low down to 47. We'll have hazy sunshine Tuesday. It'll be warmer, and that smoke from the distant wildfires will enhance the sunset for us. The high of 81 on Tuesday. Wednesday, hazy sun again, but very warm. The high jumping up to 89 midweek. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
There's a lot happening in Washington and in your local neighborhood. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app to keep up with the latest. WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
5 o'clock, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Authorities in Boulder, Colorado now identify 12 victims of yesterday's attack on a peaceful walk supporting Israeli hostages. Most suffered burns of varying degrees. Mohammed Solomon is accused of throwing Molotov cocktails at the victims, calling them Zionists. Bishop Gruel is acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Colorado.
He said he wanted them all to die. He had no regrets, and he would go back and do it again.
Gruel says that 16 unused explosive devices were recovered. Solomon faces federal hate crime charges and locally 16 counts of attempted murder. He's being held on $10 million bond and faces life in prison if convicted. A new name for Hartford's XL Center. From this point forward, the venerable arena will be known as People's Bank Arena. Officials were on hand today to make the announcement for the facility in the midst of a $145 million renovation. The former Civic Center was home to the NHL's Whalers for decades and hosted some of the biggest names in music and entertainment during its heyday. Governor Lamont says with the current makeover, new memories can be made.
Not only do you have the UConn basketball, and you've got hockey, and you got the Wolfpack. I love the fact Peter says we're going to have maybe 12, 15 additional concerts here once you get this amazing facility refurbished, and what that means.
The People's Bank Chair and CEO Thomas Senecal stressed his institution is not affiliated with the former People's United Bank in Bridgeport, now M&T Bank. Renovations expected to be completed by the end of the year. After conferencing with some of his Republican colleagues, Senator Richard Blumenthal has a prediction. He says President Trump's big budget bill will get shot down in the Senate unless major changes are made.
The big, beautiful bill passed by the House has no chance in the Senate in its present form. Massive cuts in Medicaid and food assistance, and the highly increased debt and deficit resulting from it will doom this bill.
Blumenthal just traveled to France and Ukraine with Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. Supreme Court passed on weighing in on a case on a ban on assault weapons. Stacey Lynn reports.
The justices declined to decide whether Maryland's ban on semi-automatic rifles such as AR-15s violates the Second Amendment's right to bear arms.
The argument's being made that, frankly, AR-15s are totally outside the scope of the Second Amendment. They didn't exist.
But legal analyst Lori Levinson says we will continue to see this fight regarding the Constitution.
And to what extent jurisdictions can put bans on what they consider to be particularly dangerous weapons or large-capacity magazines.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
East Hartford police continue to investigate a shooting in town over the weekend that left a 17-year-old dead. Investigators say around 5 Sunday morning, 4 individuals left the AAA diner on Main Street without paying their bill. An arriving officer noticed the group get into an Uber and leave the scene. That vehicle was stopped a short time later on Main and Orchard Streets. Police say the teen ran from the stop with officers in pursuit. It was after they lost sight of the teen when they heard a gunshot, found him with a self-inflicted wound to the leg. He later died at an area hospital. Police say a gun found near the victim had been reported stolen out of South Windsor. Financial markets rallied after a sluggish start to the new trading week. Jason Brooks has the recap.
Tariff uncertainty continues to be the dominant theme for the stock market, but stocks got help after the White House said that President Trump is likely to speak with China's President Xi Jinping this week. The Dow rallied higher by 35 points to 42,305. The Nasdaq gained 128 points to 19,242, and the S&P added 24 points to 5936. Shares rallied higher for steel producers Cleveland-Cliffs and Nucor after President Trump doubled tariffs on steel imports to 50%. Jason Brooks, CBS News.
And for these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
You ever try missing that one part?
Thanks, up.
Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak high. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Well, these polymers aren't as flexible as batch K3.
Researcher Laurie is stretched thin.
Did you get the vulcanization analytics from V66? Wait, are these rubber scores from last week?
She needs to hire new lab technicians so she can bounce back into her old self.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our matching platform. Spend less time
Yes,
searching
sir.
and more time connecting with candidates. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Before I get back to Courtney Ann, I got Lynn who's been on the line for a little bit. Let me get Lynn in here real quick because I know she was talking about something early on. How you doing, Lynn?
Hi, how are you, Reese?
Pretty good. What do you got for me?
I have a lot that I could really help you out with. I grew up in Hartford, Connecticut, and we have more than enough sick, evil American pukes in our country and state. We definitely don't need any more. That's what I'm saying about these illegals. And they hide a lot of the crimes that happen in Connecticut. Actually, sex trafficking is up over 200%. Nobody wants to talk about that.
That's right.
We're losing jobs left and right. There are no jobs for the American people. These illegals are taking apartments. There's 5,000 homeless Americans in Connecticut. Okay, it's like, Lamont closed 4 prisons. They're saying, why don't you put him in prisons? Well, he just keeps closing them. I mean, they admitted in a Zoom call, Lamont, one of the senators, and like 3 or 4 mayors admitted in a Zoom meeting, if you want to look it up, on May 7th, 2023, they admitted they're letting criminals walk around with illegal guns to protect themselves. They refuse to arrest them. I mean, our state is in the crapper. We don't need any more crap. They have to go. They have to go.
Yeah,
and that other guy, Paul,
go, real
he
quick,
said, okay, he said something about, the grandmother that's taking care of the kids while they worked. I worked full-time for 46 years. I had no family to babysit for me. I had 3 children and 5 stepchildren, and I did it. So there's no excuse. I don't want to hear any excuse. I have lived through everything. And like I said, I grew up on Hartford. I lived on Hudson Street. I lived on Capitol Avenue. I've seen it all, and then some. And I'm telling you, it's 100 times worse now, and they have to go.
Thank you, Lynn. Much appreciated. And thank you. What you did succinctly. Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate you. There you go. There you go. We'll get Courtney's response to that on the other side of that when we take a break. When we come back from the break. Let's get to some more weather and traffic with Jason Catarina and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon, everyone. If you're heading 91 southbound, we have a crash now between exit 35 and exit 34. That is shutting down the HOV lane there. So right now, look for delays approaching exit 35 A and B behind that. Once you get around that, just a little slow again down by exit 32 for 84 West. Northbound 91 moving well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 tied up approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound slowing approaching 46 Sisson Avenue into the tunnel. 291 through 84 okay. 2 eastbound moving well. Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound slowing Harbor Park up to the Aragoni Bridge in Middletown. 9 northbound again slowing by exit 32 in Berlin up to 34 in New Britain. Westbound 84, some slow traffic 23 in Waterbury up to the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound in Newtown, you've got delays 10 to 11. Southbound Parkway, an accident down between exit 61 and 60 on the Parkway southbound. Got delays back to 63 in North Haven behind that. 95 South New Haven slowing from 46 down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
And the clear, quite cool tonight. The low down to 45. Then some hazy sun for us Tuesday as smoke from the Canadian wildfires will enhance the sunset later on. Warmer with the high of 81. Clear on Tuesday night, the low 54. Hazy sunshine on Wednesday. Very warm, the high of 89. Very warm and humid Thursday with clouds and sun. A heavy thunderstorm late in the afternoon that could produce some localized damaging wind gusts, the high 89. Overcast with a thunderstorm in the afternoon Friday, a high of 83. Currently, it is 70 in Mansfield, 64 in New London, and 72 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
We promise fast, friendly, reliable service. Visit us at calljoetheplumber.com.
ProHealth Physicians has proudly been keeping Connecticut healthy for nearly 25 years. ProHealth accepts Husky Medicaid, Medicare, TRICARE, and most major insurances. For trusted local care for your whole family, call 1-855-CT-MD411 or visit ProHealthMD.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Connected TV. It's effective channels for driving measurable advertising results. That's because when your customer's not scrolling, they're streaming. Let Viant put your ads right where they are, on the best content, across the most premium platforms in the world. We're talking real consumers, big screens, big outcomes. With Viant, you get people-based targeting, AI-powered performance, and full access to inventory built to seize eyeballs, not clickbait. Viant, where premium streaming meets performance. Visit Viant.ai to unlock real results today.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need.
Yeah,
Free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Reese on the Radio is getting ready to drop some knowledge on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Drop it. We'll get to Courtney Ann in a second, but I want to read this before I pull her back onto the air. China's immigration laws are extremely restrictive. China is a geopolitical adversary of these United States. I'll read it again. China's immigration laws are extremely restrictive according to the 2020 census. Only 941 people were granted citizenship in a population over 1.4 billion. Citizenship is typically available only to those with Chinese relatives. Permanent residents, or those with legitimate reasons, which are vaguely defined and rarely approved. Internal migration, e.g., to other provinces, also requires permits, a system rooted in Mao's 1957 policies. Again, people who wanted to migrate to China with 1.4 billion people, they only took in 941. The United States takes in 1 million legal residents a year. By the way, that is more immigrants than all countries combined. Again, all countries combined immigrate to the United States legally. Now, let's go back to Courtney Ann in Fresno. Hello, Courtney. Now, with that, we are not stopping people. We are not stopping people from coming into the country. We are telling them to follow the legal process. We clearly have 1 million coming in per year, and we had 20 million come in, if that legitimately is the number. We had those come in illegally. Not only were they given asylum, they were also given food stamps. They were also given, apartments, homes, cars, rental cars, whatever the case may have been. Hell, they got the whole kit and caboodle. So what's wrong with us saying that they can't come in?
I'm going to tell you what's wrong with it. Okay, I'm going to say what's wrong with it. Because first off, let me say this. If Americans put even half of this energy that they are putting into trying to keep immigrants out, if they put that into the crime rate and what should happen to the people that do crime or in, just taking a hold of crime in America in their own backyard, oh my God, we'd be in such a better place. I personally don't think that.
Can I ask what that means? Hold on. When you said if they, hold on. Can I ask what that means?
If they put half the energy, like same thing I said about Chicago. When the people in Chicago, they got the chance to actually get some recognition on the craziness of that's going on in Chicago. But instead, I forget what it was they got on on TV and started talking about. It was
right.
just
They were
so
crapping
retarded.
on Brandon Johnson, the mayor, about
Just like something stupid, like I'm not
right,
saying that's
pushing
stupid, but, like,
people
you
out of
know,
their community centers and providing food stamps and money for illegals, but yet they didn't seem to do the same for Chicago residents, predominantly black people in the community. And your argument for that was, for those of you who might remember, Courtney's argument with that was they never even put that kind of effort politically, because what they all said they're going to turn Chicago red. But they didn't put that kind of energy in putting an end to the gun violence that was happening in the city.
Exactly.
And that was your point. It's like, we don't pay attention to the crime here.
And that's my point. And that's what I'm saying with this. So that's just hold on, wait. Let me know. So that's just that point.
Okay.
So since we're doing statistics, let me just say some statistics for you.
Okay.
Because this is I can't like this is a perfect example of the Bible, and it's saying the hearts of men shall turn cold, because to hear people feel so entitled to be able to say, no, you can't come in our country. First off, the suffering that they go through is nowhere near
How do you know?
the suffering that we.
How do you know?
How do I know? Because the evidence shows.
No. Courtney, you can't. No. That won't fly here. With all due respect, Courtney.
Said it right now.
No. Let me explain this to you.
Shut your mouth.
The suffering that the so-called alleged suffering that you're saying that these individuals go through is an act of their own governments. The suffering that they go through, that's not my problem.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it is your problem.
It shouldn't
but I'm
be.
saying, like, so you can't have a heart to it. But anyway,
No. Don't do that. Don't do that. See, that's where you get yourself into trouble. See, what you're saying is like,
I think you should hear these statistics. Hear these statistics.
Okay, go ahead, and I will tell you why I'm never going to cut off my nose despite my face. Go ahead.
Okay, in 2022, undocumented immigrants paid approximately $96.7 billion in federal, state, and local taxes.
No, they didn't.
That included 25. Yes, they did.
No, that is a lie.
This is on. You can go fact check it.
I will, and I'll tell you exactly how. Hold on. You're saying undocumented people who have no Social Security card and no paperwork, undocumented, right?
No,
wait.
Because of good old Obama, he made it to where they can get some form of paperwork, a paper trail.
Okay,
because,
those numbers are. Let me tell you why those numbers are farcical, and let me explain to you why. So, and we've gone through this a dozen times. People have equated that number that you're talking about to sales tax. So these people spend money. It's like that stupid thing Obama administration used to say was that for every $5 of food stamps, it creates like $2 worth of revenue, which is garbage. It's money out from the government that they're now counting in and calling it a plus. You can't put out $5 and then retrieve $2 and think that that's a net gain. That isn't. It's a $3 loss.
Where are you getting,
No. What I'm
that
trying to explain to you is
my
this.
facts are not right.
Here's what I'm trying to tell you, is that an illegal comes into the country. He doesn't have paperwork. He more than likely doesn't file federal taxes. Doesn't. Or even state taxes. Because he can't.
But I'm not talking about them.
Hold
I'm not talking about those.
Actually, first of all, if they're undocumented, that's the core of the argument. They are undocumented.
No,
they have no Social Security
but
card.
You're talking about the ones that are not documented. You're talking about the ones that come in, have no paperwork. Probably
Read the
get paid for
opening
cash,
of your statistic.
So there's no.
Read the opening of your
so
statistic.
There's no way.
Read the opening of your statistic again. Read the opening line of your statistic again.
Oh, read the opening line. I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
That's okay.
Hear what you're saying. Let me go back to it. And it says in 2022, undocumented immigrants.
Period. That's it.
Paid approximately.
Undocumented. So that means they had no Social Security.
Wait.
No Social Security card. No. The word is undocumented. And the definition of undocumented is they have no legal paperwork in the country. So they can't file taxes because they have no Social Security card. They have no birth certificate. They have no legal documentation. They have no agency in the country, right, to have a document so they can file taxes. So to say that they don't have the legal requirement, paperwork, to file taxes, how can they be paying taxes? And the taxes they're talking about are things like sales taxes. When they go to the grocery store, you pay an 8% tax on your goods. They go shopping. They go to Burlington Coat Factory or they go to Marshall's. They pay a tax on that.
Can I stop you right there?
Go
because
ahead.
you're wrong. You're
no,
wrong.
I'm not. They're undocumented.
I'm gonna tell you why they're wrong.
Okay.
The IRS issues ITIN numbers to people who aren't eligible for Social Security numbers, including undocumented immigrants.
Hold on. Then that
With an
negates. Then it negates the term undocumented. You see what I'm saying? It's it's called doublespeak for a reason.
Are you listening, though? Are you listening?
Yes, I am.
With an ITIN, it says, let me read it again. The IRS issues ITIN numbers to people who aren't eligible for Social Security numbers, including undocumented immigrants.
And
With
you're
an
telling me that they
ITIN,
file taxes with
hold
those
on, wait.
ITNs.
With an ITIN, they can file federal and state income taxes legally. As of 2023, over 4.4 million people filed tax returns using an ITIN.
Okay,
So,
no, hold on.
you're
Stop
wrong.
there. Stop there.
You're wrong.
You do understand that they are now that's another piece of doublespeak, right? So now they're under the impression that the only people who filed taxes with an I-10 were illegals. And that's not true.
No,
because
that's not what it's saying, Reese.
You just read it. No, I'm not playing with the facts. What I'm doing is explaining to you that they are talking in circles around themselves. The point is, and I'll say it to you again, you can't use that. Wait. You cannot use the term undocumented and then say that they have documents to file taxes. The two, it cannot exist.
Because undocumented means they're not supposed to be here legally.
No, that is not what that means. Undocumented means they do not have documents that make them legal citizens. Social Security cards and a birth certificate. But if they have an ITN, right, an EIN was what they have, an employment identification number. If they have those things, that immediately negates the undocumented part. That means that they are documented residents who pay taxes. And I'm explaining to you, and this has gone over a dozen times, these people with these EIN numbers, some of them are people who come in through what's called a sort of a funnel system, right? A lot of them go into these programs where, in fact, I talked to a family not too long ago. They owned a construction company, and they send out a headhunter that goes to El Salvador, goes to Guatemala, and they handle the immigration status of that individual coming in. So they get an EIN, they come in and they work. You have to house them if they work for you, and then they go back when the season is over, right? Those people have EINs because, of course, they're a part of a system that the government is aware of. But these other people who come into the country illegally, that everyone's saying that they have an employee ID number, those numbers are vastly smaller than people that acknowledge. And when you say that people are undocumented, when you say people are undocumented, that means they have no documents.
No, but you're twisting. Now you're twisting the facts because IRS, all the ITIN number is good for is for somebody to be able to pay taxes.
And you believe that the IRS, so okay, let's try this on for size then. Okay. If these people are illegal and have an employee ID number provided to them by the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, we should be able to find every one of those individuals and demand that they get their citizenship, shouldn't we? Because if they can get an EIN,
I mean, if you want to take the time to do that,
then why is there never any? Hold on, then that's listen to me. Guys like Chris Murphy, they should be making that argument for you. They should say those people pay.
Because the IRS does not care. The IRS does
I don't care about the IRS either.
Not illegal.
I don't think the onus.
No, I'm saying that that's why. So look. This is what I could right now. I could go file taxes, and when it says what's my occupation, I could literally put drug dealer. I could say I made $200,000. I'm serious. I could say I made $200,000. Pay taxes on it. Hold on, pay taxes on it. And guess what? They're not going to send no police at my house.
Oh, I don't expect them to.
Report it.
I don't expect them to.
So that's the same concept, though.
Well, I don't care about.
They don't care about.
Yeah. I understand it, but you're putting the onus. You're putting the onus on the IRS and whether or not they care. They're bureaucrats. Nobody thinks that they care. They're bureaucrats. I don't care about that. What my problem is this. Yeah. You said something earlier about someone being entitled, right? About Americans being entitled.
Yeah.
No.
Wait,
you're missing.
Can I say one more thing?
Wait. Before you get there, I want to say this about the entitled thing. And this is absolutely, I mean, I couldn't believe you said it, but first of all, every person who is a United States citizen, who is a hardworking, tax-paying, and some of them, a lot of them, who are business owners who provide employment for individuals, who stand for this country and try to provide for it are 100% entitled to defend it. It is their role as American citizens. We are a unique country for that purpose alone, to defend and be entitled to the sovereignty that is this land. And anyone who comes into it, who wishes to be our neighbors or our co-workers, whatever the case is, they should have the same values that we do. Why? Because I couldn't bring my values to their country and expect them to adhere to them and disregard their national pride. And this is the thing I never understand, and I know it is an idealistic, ridiculous thing that's going on with children today and young people far and wide, is this allowed disrespect for America, that anybody can come in and crap on it just because they want to.
See, there you go. Now, where does the crap on it come?
I'll
Like,
tell
so
you,
that's
because
not
you said,
understanding,
because I'll tell you how you put a crap on it. Because you said a foreigner from another land should just be allowed, just for the basis of their existence, to come into our country, and we don't have a right to defend it. We don't have a right to say no.
I mean, we do say no all the time.
Yeah, I know, but we have a right to. It isn't arrogant to say, no,
Right.
you can't
I mean,
come.
Like, yeah, I mean, obviously, because, I mean, look, we're having this conversation, and so many people feel, like, entitled to say, hey, you can't come here. This is our land, when it's not nobody. It's not, you don't own this land.
Yes, we do.
And guess what? Guess what?
Yes, we do.
Guess
I own
what?
my
You
house.
don't.
I own my land. I do.
But guess what? Guess what happens if you don't pay your mortgage for some reason? What if some?
Well, we'll
God
get to
forbid, I know
that.
it probably wouldn't happen.
We'll get to
but
that.
You don't
I can't.
own anything.
Because, hold on.
Or,
No.
you know-
You're making my point, Courtney. See, you're making my point. So if I work hard, if I work hard and I keep up the payments on my property, if I pay my property taxes, if I pay my my HOA, right, and I pay my mortgage, all of that is sweat equity I'm putting into my home. And that means because of that sweat equity, because of the hard work that I do here at WTIC, nobody should be able to just walk up to my house and just go, you know what, we think we're going to squat here. America is our house.
Yeah.
And nobody should be allowed
But
to
there
just
you go
squat
now.
here.
You keep equating like bad things as if all these immigrants are coming to your house trying to squat your house.
I don't care about
All
their
the squatters that
intentions.
have everything-
I don't have to.
But that's what. But that's the example you just gave. You're like, to me, like when you say that, it's suggesting that you're fighting for this because immigrants or illegal, undocumented people are coming to people's houses trying to squat it.
Well,
So
no,
that, like,
I'm
that's
using a euphemism, but I'm saying this, is that
Right.
they do not get the right to be here because their country is messed up. That doesn't give them the right to be anywhere. But let me go to the traffic. I got to get to traffic and news. John Silva's got news. Jason Catarina's got weather, and Mark Christopher's in the BPS traffic center. Sorry, guys. I'll get you now.
All right, thank you very much, Reese. If you're heading into Hartford right now and you're on the southbound side of I-91, a little slow traffic as you move down by exit 36 from an earlier accident. Once you get around that, easy ride into downtown Hartford. Northbound 91 moving well, Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. If you're westbound 84 delays, Bulkley Bridge up to exit 45 Flatbush Avenue, 84 eastbound slowing 46 up to 48 Capitol Avenue. No problems, 291, 384 east of the river, 2 eastbound moving well, Glastonbury to Marlboro. Both sides of 9 slowing as you approach the Aragoni Bridge in Middletown. 9 northbound slowing in Berlin, 32 up to 34 in New Britain. If you are traveling on the westbound side of 84, you've got slow traffic from 25A up to 23 in Waterbury, and again at the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound in Danbury slowing 3 to 5. Again, 84 eastbound tight in Danbury from 8. On the eastbound side of 84 out to exit 11 in Newtown. Southbound Wilbur-Cross Parkway, look for delays 63 down to 62. And if you're traveling southbound 91 to New Haven, you've got delays 7 in toward the 95 interchange. 95 southbound slowing 46 down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
Pleasant and warmer for the rest of our Monday afternoon with sunshine and some clouds, but a big warm up on the way later in the week. The high up to 70 today. Mainly clear, cool tonight, the low down to 47. We'll have hazy sunshine Tuesday. It'll be warmer, and that smoke from the distant wildfires will enhance the sunset for us. The high of 81 on Tuesday. Wednesday, hazy sun again, but very warm. The high jumping up to 89 midweek. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC news update.
It's 5:30, 72 degrees, partly sunny skies in Hartford. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. A teen is dead. East Hartford police continuing their investigation after they say the person died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Officers say they were called early Sunday to the AAA diner on Main Street after the party the teen was in failed to pay their bill. Teenager fled after the vehicle he was in was stopped. Officers gave chase but lost sight of the person. That's when they heard a gunshot and later found the victim with a leg wound. He later died at an area hospital. New name for the former XL Center in Hartford. It is now known as the People's Bank Arena. The announcement made this afternoon at a press conference in the capital city. The facility is currently in the midst of a makeover at a cost of around $145 million. Man's dead. West Hartford police investigating what they are calling a vehicle versus pedestrian crash. Happened in the area of New Britain Ave and South Main Street Sunday night around 10. 63-year-old Stephen Mendelson was pronounced dead at the scene. The driver of the vehicle did stop and is cooperating with police. Investigations continuing into the crash of that small plane into Long Island Sound on Sunday. The flight of the Piper PA-32 originated out of Sikorsky Memorial Airport in Stratford. The pilot radioed they were having problems and was directed to touchdown at Tweed, New Haven before the aircraft went down off the coast of Brantford. The pilot and his teenage daughter sustained minor injuries. We're down to the last few days of the legislative session in Hartford. Speaker Matt Ritter says they're hoping to run the two-year budget bill today. If that doesn't happen today, they'll do it tomorrow. Lawmakers also could take up a measure that could save electric ratepayers some money. Checking Wall Street this afternoon. The markets bounced back after a sluggish start. Dow finished up 35 points. NASDAQ gained 128. S&P was up 24. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Hi, this is Tom Shattuck, and I've been telling you about my friend Phil's weight loss with Awaken 180. Happy to report in that after 16 weeks, Phil, yes, again, lost weight last week, and he's down a total of 74 pounds. He's getting within just a few pounds of his goal. He's also down 4.2% body fat this week and down 2 full points in visceral fat. That's the dangerous stuff that surrounds your organs. When I was on Awaken 180 a couple of years ago, I lost 80 pounds. My wife Alice lost around 30 pounds. Alice has jumped back onto the maintenance program because she wants to lose a couple pounds for summer, and she's already lost about 10 pounds in 2 weeks. Awaken 180 Weight Loss is the long-term solution for weight loss because you can always use it. You'll always have the tools and knowledge to lose weight, and you'll always have a coach for life, for free. Awaken 180 has helped over 24,000 people lose weight for good. Let's make this summer the one where we all feel our best. If you're ready to kickstart your transformation, call 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Hi, this is Dan Malloy, your former governor of the state of Connecticut. Happy birthday, WTIC.
We're back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Let me grab Courtney back in the lease for it so she can get her last word in before we get out of here. Now, listen, Courtney, I want to read this to you because you were talking about, people were in the chat room putting in EINs, employee identification numbers. If you are it is different, right? If you are a sole proprietor of a small company, that's an employee ID number. But the ITINs, here's the thing that the point I was trying to make to you about those things. The individual taxpayer identification number, that number is commonly issued to undocumented, as they put it, undocumented workers. So what they're saying is that And in the number that you're reading, and that's the number that they're trying, I always said you have to parse it. They said that they issued over 26 million ITINs on December 31st of 2022, and more than 5.8 million active ITINs December of 2022, more than 5.8 million ITINs were issued. In 2015, approximately 4.4 million ITIN filers paid over $23.6 billion in taxes. Now, again, this is where you fudge the numbers, because there is, in the beginning of this, I'll tell you how they fudged the numbers, because I looked it up. Here is the top paragraph of that information I just read to you. There is no precise data on the exact number of undocumented immigrants who have ITINs. So they don't know. So they're taking, immigrants get the ITIN, they take the tax numbers, and they contribute it to a number of people they don't know are using them.
Okay, Reese, do you know one person in America that's an American that does not have a social security number and is ineligible to get one?
I don't. Of course I would know.
Please, no. There's not one.
I don't know. No. I didn't suggest that there. There's no way for me to know, Courtney.
There is a way for you to know. Can I just say what I want to say?
Go ahead.
I get your point. Logan, I was thinking about what you said, and I'm like, okay, I get his technical point. You're saying, and it's just a technicality. You're saying, how can you be undocumented if you're allowed to get any kind of document? Wouldn't that make you documented? So technically, I see your point, but it's not really. That's not a point, because you, with an ITIN, all that is a number to be able to say this person paid the IRS taxes on the income that they made.
Right.
Period.
But
So,
I agree with you there.
If you're not documented, you still can get deported. You still can get everything, right?
Oh, no, I agree with you there. But the problem is, and we're going to have to go to a break again, but the problem with this is that they're using one number to attribute to a group. In essence, ITINs are not specific to only undocumented people. They're saying that undocumented primarily use the...
Who else would get... It's not an EIN for a business.
I understand that, but...
Only people...
No, it's not.
The only people that can get an ITN. I can't get one. You can't get one.
That's not true.
There's only one person. Yes, it is.
Here's what I'm saying to you,
People that are
Courtney.
not eligible.
Let's make a bet. Let's make a bet.
Mhm.
Go look up who can get
Okay.
an ITIN and call me
I
back
already
tomorrow.
did.
No, go ahead, look
And
it up,
I
and
already
we'll
did.
we'll go back into this tomorrow, and we'll do a whole segment on it. I promise.
Okay.
Okay?
Good. Okay.
All right.
Good.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we got to move on. Thank you, Courtney. I always appreciate you, dear. She knows I love her. She's like a little sister to me. Anyway, we'll get another check of the weather and traffic. I got more news and more views I got to get into before we get up out of here. Our first day back, coming from the D.C. area. Let's get some weather and traffic with Jason Catarina and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Well, if you're westbound, 84 delays approaching the Bulkey Bridge in East Hartford up to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound looking good now. Farmington out into Vernon. 91 southbound a little slow, 33 down to 32 A and B. If you're northbound 91, that moves well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. 291, 384 okay. 2 eastbound moving well. Glastonbury into Marlboro. 9 southbound just a little slow at the Aragoni Bridge. 9 northbound you'll lose some speed by 32 in Berlin. If you are traveling 84 eastbound into Waterbury, slowing by 18. 84 westbound is tied up from 26 up to exit 25 in Waterbury, again at the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound is slowing in Danbury by exit 3. Again, some delays from exit 9 in Newtown up to 11 in Newtown. Southbound Parkway slowing by exit 60 in Hamden. 91 southbound delays from exit 6 down in toward the 95 interchange, and 95 South New Haven slowing from 46 to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
Brought to you by Staples.
How many times have we all said, that was easy? Well, the Staples Easy button is back, and it's got us saying it again for custom prints, shipping services, even passport photos. Plus, quality products delivered next day to over 98% of the U.S. Staples, that was easy.
WTIC weather.
Mainly clear, quite cool tonight. The low down to 45. Hazy sun for us on Tuesday as smoke from the Canadian wildfires will haze up the sky and enhance sunset for us too. But warmer, the high of 81. Hazy sunshine and very warm for us on a Wednesday with a high of 89. Warm and humid Thursday with clouds and sun, a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon. Some of those could produce some localized damaging wind gusts, the high 89. Then overcast with a thunderstorm Friday afternoon, the high of 83. Right now, 64 in New London, 68 in New Haven, 70 Mansfield, and 72 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
At Joe the Plumber, we stand behind all our residential work, except maybe toilets. I mean, we do great work on toilets, but toilets are right up against the wall, so they're kind of hard to stand behind, you know? Visit us at calljoetheplumber.com.
Dreaming of a perfect smile? At Columbia Dental, our orthodontic experts specialize in braces and clear aligners like Invisalign. Get the smile you've always dreamed of. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit columbiadental.com.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about your thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com or in stores at your local CVS.
How did you get your tripping breakers fixed so fast?
ALO Home Services. Same day electrical. I gave them a call and they had a technician on their way. They even sent the technician's real-time location so I knew when they would be here.
Did you say same day? That's crazy.
If you need same-day electrical, call, click, or text today and say hello, ALO, call for details. Licensed for safety. P102776688, D1040145, E1185643, S3308699, HIC 628926, SM3004646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
Join music director Carolyn Kwan and the Hartford Symphony Orchestra for a spectacular finale to our 2024-2025 season with Rachmaninoff and Rhapsody in Blue, June 6th through the 8th at the Bushnell. Clayton Stevenson returns to perform Gershwin's timeless Rhapsody in Blue. It's the perfect way to celebrate Clayton's residency with the Hartford Symphony. Another highlight is John Adams' Dr. Atomic Symphony, inspired by the story of J. Robert Oppenheimer. Tickets as low as $10 for students. Call 860-987-5900 or visit hartfordsymphony.org.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Add some star-spangled style to your summer with Ashley's Stars and Stripes sale going on now. Shop Hot Buys for every room in your home, now just $6.99. Plus, you can save up to $1,000 store-wide. And don't miss upgrading your patio. Save up to 20% on select outdoor furniture. Or feel the freedom to buy now and pay over and interest until 2030 on in-store purchases made with your Ashley Advantage Synchrony credit card. Only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is.
You know who it is. It's Reese on the Radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
I feel bad because Courtney's going to get she's going to get a rude awakening when she looks up that ITIN number. Thank you, Craig, in the car. Again, like I said, it's shifty. It's always the sleight of hand with these people when they tell the numbers. You know, they tell the numbers like, oh, illegal immigrants, they're paying $23 billion in taxes. I'm like, that's never fall for that. It's something that's always baked in that ruins it. But that's okay. We'll talk to her tomorrow about that. Courtney's very passionate about this. She's not an America hater. But, you know, I love Courtney with all my heart. And the thing that she, as a lot of young people in her age group, she's in her 30s. And this view of America in the sense of anything that isn't compassionate is un-American. A sense of national pride, Zionist. Not Zionist, sorry. Nihilist. And a nationalist. It's, again, this is something that's taught in the schools. Everybody's culture needs to be respected. Everybody's cultures need to be adhered to, except your own. You've had it too good. The American flag, no, it's intimidating. What are they doing here? Like, if our America is intimidating, what did they come here for? If our America is racist, what did they come here for? Oh, because it's the land of opportunity. Well, the reason why it's the land of opportunity is because it's America. That flag stands for something. The thing that makes it the land of opportunity, that flag represents that. That's what that means. Yeah, but people can find it offensive. How could they? It represents the thing they came here for. Opportunity, wealth, school, education, prosperity. That's what that flag represents, not just a flag. Constitution says you can burn it to the ground. Won't leave, though. But they'll burn that flag in a heartbeat. I had so much stuff to get into, but I can't. It's the end of the show. I'm not going to be able to get to the calls. It's the end of the show. It's just it would just go off the rails. I just want to say this thing about this situation in Colorado. Folks, take heed of what's going on here. This whole screaming and hollering about it ain't a terrorist attack. It's just some whack job screaming anti-Israel nonsense. The reason why they're busting their hump and bending over backwards to keep it from being a terrorist attack or being labeled as such is because this is hurting them. They've allowed this rhetoric to go on and on. They've championed people like Mahmoud Khalil and say it's his constitutional right to say down with America. It's his constitutional right to say down with Israel. He's just expressing himself. And their hands are dirty, if not bloody. And when you keep permitting it, remember what they said about January 6th. Donald Trump incited that violence by denying that he lost the election. Bill Maher was just on with David Mamet, saying the exact thing. So glad David Mamet called him out. God bless that man. Said that's bullcrap. But remember, peacefully and patriotically meant break windows, hurt things. The rhetoric is what got that violence on January 6th. So when people talk about long live the infantata, worldwide infantata, it doesn't mean what it says it means. The same breath they're screaming about January 6th. And this lunatic, piece of trash, savage, does exactly what we told them was going to happen if they didn't put the kibosh on it. It happens, and now we want to mince words. It wasn't terrorism. It was some lunatic. Screaming the same crap. Couldn't we just say that the people of January 6th were lunatics? And then we said, oh, they were lunatics. They're not us. They're lunatics. And then they give us a pass. No, they didn't. Not at all. They even went after the kid with a brain tumor. Remember that? But to add insult to injury as a party and why they suck, why they shouldn't win an election, hell, in my view, 50 years. A man throwing Molotov cocktails and a makeshift flamethrower, setting people on fire. What response did he get from elected officials? Let's go to Jamie Raskin of Maryland. Jamie Raskin of Maryland. You know, the guy who tried to convince us all that he was supporting a Maryland dad who beats his wife and traffics humans. What did he say needed to be done about the tragedy where 16 people were hurt by some lunatic terrorist? Here's what he says we need to do in Washington.
We've got to take whatever precautions and security measures we need to make sure that people can do that. That's essential. But there's been a lot of violence in our society recently, as we saw in Washington. Now we're seeing in Colorado, but we've seen it across the country. We are still in the midst of a gun violence epidemic. So we need to be acting with due concern for human life. I mean, this is why, of course, we have been fighting for a universal violent criminal background check. We are for a ban on military-style assault weapons in the country. Our lax gun laws are a danger to everybody in America, and that's something that we can act with some legislative determination to turn around.
Jamie Raskin is a Jew. Did he defend those Jews who were firebombed? No. He deflected. They can't even speak up for their own people. And the racist attack, and that's what it was, racist terrorist attack against Jews. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Instead, he made it about gun violence. And you know why. You know exactly why. Because they know the blood's on their hands. How many attacks is that? Is that 2 in a week? Yeah, 2 in a week. Their name is Mud, folks. Their name is Mud. And they know it, too. They know it. They know it badly.
Yes, it's a character, and yes, it's exaggerated.
Here's David Chilean on CNN.
Which party is better described as the party with strong leaders? Look at this. Wow. 16% of Americans say Democrats, 40% say that of the Republican Party. Now, overall, no party's doing great. Lots of Americans say neither of these qualities apply to either party. But look at how much worse off the Democrats are. A party that gets things done. Only 19% of Americans say that about the Democrats. 36% say it about the Republicans. In fact, the only place that the Democrats are numerically ahead, party of the middle class, this is basically a tie, though. Yeah. 34% say that of Democrats, 32% say that of Republicans. But this, I think, is the most fascinating. How do partisans talk about their own party? Right? So among Democrats and Democratic leaners, 32% say Democrats are the party with strong leaders. I mean, of their own kind, right? 82% of Republican and Republican leaders say that about the GOP.
They don't even like themselves, folks. They don't even like themselves. That's why they're flailing. That's why they're losing. They hate themselves. There's nothing for them to do. They can't do anything. They can't get out of their own way. Why? Because they accept nonsense. They expect terror. They expect rioting. If you think that's bad, let's try this on for size before we go. Harry Enton. Harry Enton talking about what Americans think about economic views. Who do they trust more? What did we have? What did we have this past couple months? We had car attacks, Tesla car attacks. We had riots. We had protests all across the country, hundreds of them, even in the state of Connecticut. I mean, they were pay-to-play protests, but whatever. They were still protests. And they were covered by the national news. Enough with Elon. Enough with Trump. This has got to stop. People are going to die.
After all of the waves, Kate Baldwin, after the last few months, the first 5 months of the Donald Trump presidency, right, the first 4 months of the Donald Trump presidency, that you expect that Democrats would have this massive lead on the economy. It ain't so. It ain't so. The party that is closest to your economic views, in November of 2023, it was the Republicans by 11 points. Now it's still within that range, still within that margin of error. Plus 8-point advantage for the Republican Party. How is that possible, Democrats? How is that possible after all the recession fears, after the stock market's been doing all of this, after all the tariffs that Americans are against, and Republicans still hold an 8-point lead on the economy? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. No, we're not kidding you. It doesn't work anymore, CNN. It doesn't work anymore, MSNBC. No one is watching you. No one is watching you. No one is listening to your rhetoric, and no one believes you. You people outside on the street protesting, no one is listening to you. No one believes you. Which brings me back to my opening monologue. This is the Republican Party here. Take advantage of this. The country has made up its mind. They trust Republicans more. So get behind the people who are making things happen, the ones who are telling you, who are on the street, who are telling you what's going on and what needs to be done. Perhaps you should grab them and bring them into your coalition so that you have a winning chance. But trust me, regardless of what Connecticut thinks, regardless of how people vote, and regardless of what legislation passes in this state, it is going to take it down a path that it will not recover from. It needs saving. The state does. Get it done. Just get it done. If you have ideas, come up with them. If you need ideas, ask. They're not working. And what do they say when things aren't working? What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You're getting the same results. Perhaps you should start listening to other people. Don't get me wrong. I already know they listen to the show. I'm just saying, I'm not giving up any ideas or anything like that. Well, I have some ideas, but if they're interested, they should listen to the show. We'll talk about it. That's what we'll do. It is a pleasure to be back. I am glad to be back. I will never leave you again. I promise you. I'm going to be taking vacations in August, just so you know. When I take a vacation, it will be in August for my birthday. Just because, I'm a big fan of my birthday. That's what I'm going to be doing from now on. But other than that, I'm not taking any days off. So just so you guys know in the front office, there will be no Christmas show. Roland, you can take off with your family. Of course, that's okay. But I'll run the boards if I have to.
And when is this supposed to be?
I'm just saying, I'm not taking any days off anymore. You can forget about it. I'm just not doing it anymore. It's unnatural.
I got days coming up off.
What days? What days?
Bowling tournament days.
Oh, come on, man. Who are you going to bring in? Justin? Is Justin going to come in?
Is him or
Joey?
Or Joey.
Okay, well, if Joey's in, Joey's all right. Joey and I, we work well. We can do all right. Justin, I'll have to break him in a little bit. But I don't care if it's on Christmas, New Year's. That's what I'm saying. I'll be right there behind the board. By the way, can you teach me how to work the board, if that's possible?
It ain't gonna be for long because we're about to get a whole new board.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. We're about to get a whole new system in there. Oh, I hope it's state of the art. I'm gonna be in there right with you. I'm gonna learn the whole bit. Anyway, like I said, thank you, Michael A. It is a pleasure to be back, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Don't worry, surprise coming next week. Can't tell you about it. They haven't told me yet. Well, they told me, but I can't tell you. Surprise coming next week. Can't wait to tell you. When they tell me I can tell you, I'm going to tell you. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese On The Radio. You, go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com so you can watch the show and also send us a note. Oh, by the way, before we get out of here, Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center, I'm sorry. I want to give a shout out to Travis F. in South Windsor. You are our Between Rounds bagel winner. A dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds. Okay? Now, Mark Christopher and Jason Catarina's game. We got weather and traffic in the BPS Traffic Center. Good night, man.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow. If you're heading into Hartford, southbound 91's a little slow, 33, down to 32 A and B. Northbound 91.
All right, sir.
All right, I'm going to forward you the info on Travis.
84 Baltimore.
Okay.
South Farmington to Vernon, 291 384 okay. East of the river, 2 eastbound, moving well, Glastonbury into Marlboro. Quiet Middletown, Waterbury's okay, 84 and 8. If you're traveling 84 eastbound, Newtown, you're slowing 9 to 11. Southbound 91, New Haven, slowing 6 in toward the 95 interchange. If you are heading on the southbound side of 95 in New Haven, that slows 46 down to 43. And
all right, everybody. Last Friday didn't feel the same. Not for me either. Not for me either. Thank you, Lori. I love you. I'll see you guys tomorrow.